Hello. Sorry, you guys had to wait a while there for the for the camera, the stream to start. I had to do a ton of things really quick. Sorry about that. I think that's a little too bright too. So, hi Jan. Hey Walter. How's it going? Let's see here. I'm going to turn this down. Hi, Angela. I get it. I do it a little bright because of the denim, you know. So how are you guys? How was your weekend? Was it okay? I feel like I did like a ton of really productive things. That made me feel really triumphant. Me and my husband like fixed a couple things. And then the next day I did like nothing, you know. I just had one of those weird weekends. I'm starting to like stress about buying a house. So, yeah. So, I feel like maybe sewing these all in one is a little ambitious, but, you know, I always do that to myself. So, I might go a little quick today, and hopefully I don't make any mistakes. Hi, Eva. How's it going? And, because I always have to brush up on sewing a zipper fly, and I don't think I've ever sewn a pleat in the back of a skirt before. It's not funny, but I'm pretty sure I know how it goes. So, we got this. So I also, if I have time, I'll do some of the hardware, but if I don't get to the hardware, I've done it before in other jean making videos, so feel free to check those out. And if you want just a concise jean zipper tutorial, I have one. If you search my website in the how-to section, there's a zipper fly tutorial. So I found it by searching myself, but I put So Live all as one word, and then zipper fly, and I found it. So, all right, let's get going. So today we're making a jean skirt, which I drafted from my Ginger jeans pattern. Hi, Tanya. And I didn't do any other modifications, really. I just drafted it and then trued up some of the pocket pieces so that they fit the new shape of the hip area. And then I added a little kick pleat. I think that's all I did. So my patterns looked a little funny because, you know, you're trying to like get rid of that rise crotch area of the pattern and still have that hip circumference that you need. So I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to turn out. Hi, Sandy. How's it going? My glasses are so terrible, you guys, but I finally ordered some yesterday. So hopefully I won't be complaining about them to you. I don't even wear these really unless I'm streaming or recording a video now. They're so bad. They're so bad because like the like computer film thing, the anti-glare thing is bubbling on it. And so it looks like I'm looking through scratches all the time. All right, so I may do this sewing wise out of order than how you would sew your Ginger jeans. Because I only have one machine and I'm going to be flipping between the top stitch thread and the regular thread. I'm kind of tempted to not use a contrast top stitch, but then again, I only want to do it in a couple areas, like maybe the yoke and the center back, and then the front and maybe the pockets. So I'm just going to try and go as fast as possible, but still not rush things too much so that we have the contrast stitching as well. That's what made me remember. When I remembered I had contrast stitching, I was like, oh, that kind of tips it over lengthwise to do it all in one. So, all right. So I got my heavy duty top stitch thread. And when I use this, I only put it in the top. I just use a regular bobbin on the bottom. There's no way I could get this in my bobbin to work. So I don't know anyone who can. So just know that. You will have to adjust your tension as well. Like I have to really crank my tension down. So hopefully I'll remember to do that too. I got my new scissors too, and let's see, they're called like, it's a woman's name, I think it says Karen. They're so light though, I'm like, and so sharp, and they're serrated. I think they're more geared towards quilters and people who cut fabric with their scissors, but I wanted something that always cut my thread, so I got them in, and I got a new seam ripper, so that's kind of exciting too. Hi Louise. Okay, how's everything look? Everything look and sound okay? Because I'm going to dive right in. First, I'm going to sew my front pockets. So like I said, I'll probably sew a bit, as much stuff as I can. and then go back, top stitch it all, and then carry on. That's kind of the easiest way for me to not have to switch my thread constantly and waste some of my thread. Oh, nice, Angela. Cool. I just got my fabric order yesterday too. Yesterday or the day before. They're so busy right now. All right, these seam allowances are, what did I tell you guys? Oh my God, I always look in here and I never see them. Let's see. I am using a stretch denim, but if you wanted to draft yourself a skirt pattern using my instructions, you could probably use any pant pattern. See, where are the seam allowances? Where are they? Let's see. I don't have maybe everything printed out, but sorry. I think they're 5/8. So I'm going to go for 5/8. For the best. It's stretch denim, right? So I'm putting on my pocket lining first. I'm not doing a coin pocket. We'll do them both. I lost my little fly facing while I was pre-serging everything today. Hi Daphne, how's it going? Nice to see you. I'm kind of, I don't want to call that I'm speed sewing this, but at the same time, I'm going to probably keep to a pretty good clip. But I do want to make you guys follow up on the homework I gave you. I'm hoping that you guys thought of some ideas for Me Made May and some themes that you might want. Let's see, these are too small for that. I'm going to trim my seam allowance down. I don't really want that big ridge inside there. So I'm going to trim these down. And I'm going to clip the curve. But I'm not going to top stitch them quite yet. What are you guys working on? So I don't know what I'm thinking because I'm pretty busy right now, but I can't resist that that rainbow quilt that Ruby, I can't believe I almost said that, Ruby Star Society has right now. Like I'm not a quilter at the same one time at one hand, but at the same time I can't resist rainbow. So I'm definitely going for it because I already had the fabric for it. It's gonna be pretty cool. Where's my pocket facings? Right here. Here's my zipper and my shield. Oh, thanks, Eva. This is a kind of a funny fabric because hidden on there is this woman. Can you even see her right there? I didn't realize she was there till the fabric was at the cutting, like the cutting stage at the fabric store. I realized before it was cut and I was like, yeah, that'll be fine. It's cute. The same person that did that fabric, I sewed the project bag in live on camera, the Gasly's. Same line, or same, not line, but I mean, I guess it's kind of the same line, the Gasly's. This fabric is so stretchy that it kind of wants to like push away from my presser foot, so I'm gonna walk it along because this one I definitely got a little bit mismatched right there. See that? It kind of pushed it off the side seam there. All right, so I have these in now. Unfortunately, I put those on incorrectly. So I'm going to do this one the way I really want it to be, which is with the, oh no. Dang, my pocket fabric's not going to show. That's kind of a bummer. I usually like my pocket fabric to show on the inside of my pants like this, but I put this on the wrong side, so my bad. So this is how it's going to go, like this. So we're going to sew it wrong sides together first. So my hands get to see this cute fabric this time. You can't see it? Yeah, I didn't think you could see it. Let me see if I can find her. I mean, you can kind of see her face there? She's like sneaking out from the bushes. This is the Amelia dress by Green Bee Patterns. Hello, Eliza. Nice to see you. How are you? I feel like I should have turned on my air conditioning. It's that time of year now. I love this dress, and I bring it up a lot because you can cut and sew it from quilting cotton because it's all in the bias. And that like kind of frees you up to have more, you know, options for fabric, and the bias really makes the quilting cotton more drapey. It would be even more fabulous in other fabrics too. But I do love this, and I feel like mine's a little tight right now. I gained a little bit of weight last year, and so, you know, there's that. But at the same time, my friend told me, she goes, you know, I don't even open the zipper to get it on and off. It's got this long back zipper. And I was like, you don't? And she's pretty tall and slender. And so I was like, well, lucky her. That's what I was thinking. Lucky her. And then I tried it, and I can do it too. So it's, the bias is really forgiving. Like, it really does make it stretchy. I sewed this last year for Me Made May, one of the things I did. So you can check out the past video. The other great thing about it, because it's on the bias, is you don't really have to finish the seams. Like, all the seams on my dress are raw. See that? They're raw. And then you don't have to top stitch them, but I do. And they're fine. They're totally fine. In fact, they're less bulky because they're not serged or anything. It's pretty awesome. All right, I'm going to iron these. Let's go to the iron. You did, Eva? Oh, that sounds so nice. That sounds so nice for your front window. I don't have a front window. I saw that people were hanging up quilts. That's some stuff I want to show you. So tomorrow, if I get this all done, we're going to cut out the Friday Pattern Company free pattern that they just came out with called the Sunday V-neck. I got my fabric and watched it yesterday. It is a unisex pattern, and it comes in lots of sizes. It's pretty size inclusive, and it's for all genders. And it's for knits, and I will be sewing it not with my serger. So if you have some knits, you can color block it so you don't need as much of one knit. It's a raglan t-shirt. I'll show you a picture. It's pretty cute. I feel like this is a pretty easy one a lot of people can jump in on. And like I said, I'm not going to use my serger. I'm just going to use my single needle machine. Alright, so this is my French seam that I'm going to finish, and I'm going to actually iron this as well while I'm here and get it ready for top stitching. And I like to see a little bit of the blue so that I know my lining isn't showing on the outside when I iron it here. Just like that. This is our pocket stay. I might, for the first time ever, sew this freaking pocket stay correctly. Because if y'all know, I never manage to. I always forget about it. I always try and get too clever. Or I will do it after the fact. This time, I'm doing it right. I'm not going to worry about the extra fabric at the center seam. I'm just going to trust. Look at that. I didn't even fussy it yet. And it looks really nice. Alright. Already looking like a skirt. Carrie. How's it going? You're on Instagram? Even nice. Oh, what pattern? Wait. Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to look for it too then. Am I following you, Eva? I want to check. What jeans pattern is your favorite as far as that goes? That sounds like you're like going to get me in the middle of a brawl. Kathleen. Let's see. Well, I've really worked on my ginger jeans pattern, so I really like that one. Straight out the box, the ash jeans did really well for me. They were kind of the right rise for me. They were just a little too cropped, but that's the style of it. So like what I want in an everyday jean, I would probably want a little bit, tiny bit fuller at the hem and straighter, but that's it. But the fit up at the top is probably what you're talking about. And then the Morgans were really great, but I lengthened the rise quite a bit on those. And what's the other one? Oh, the saffrons were pretty saucy for me, but they fit pretty good. So, and the Mountain View pull-ons. So I think like straight out the box, I would say the Mountain View pull-ons and the ash jeans needed the less fit adjustment, the least amount of fit adjusting. I'm really curvy. I have a belly, I have a booty, I have a narrow high waist. I'm not very tall, so, you know, if you're straight, you might find that the saffrons work better for you, or maybe even one of the other pant pairs I haven't sewn yet. Hi, Sydney. How's it going? I'm going to sew with my Juki, Louise. If you're asking me, yeah. The fabric is, what fabric is the rainbow? Oh, this right here. So this is, I'm like, how did you know I'm making a rainbow quilt and you've seen my rainbow fabric? This is the fabric I just got from Hearts. You know, I don't actually know what it's called. I'm sorry. Here we go. It's organic. Okay. Art Gallery. And, oh, here we go. Here we go. This is my, so this is going to be, this is kind of cutesy for me. But I'm pretty excited. I'm going to do this as the body of my Friday shirt. And then pink sleeves. So that's my plan with this Sunday V-neck. Pink looks really good on me. So it's like, oh, here's some of the fabric information. So it's the white Fortunate Chirapa knit right here. And then, oh, sorry. I have the autofocus off. The other one, the bamboo knit Rapture Rose. So I only needed a yard of each to make this shirt for my size. And then they always, like, if you ask, they'll throw in matching thread. So that's, and they do an amazing job matching thread. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I'm cutting out tomorrow. And like I said, it's pretty size inclusive. I feel like it goes up to 54-inch chest, I'm pretty sure, down to a 32-inch chest, maybe 33-inch. So I know that you think that's kind of kooky, Louise. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, let's do my bottom little oh, did I not? Is this what I didn't iron over there? I did, right? Doesn't feel like it. It's not as imperative that I make sure my French seam gets completely, you know, that it completely encases the seam allowance, because no one's going to see it. Except my hand. Which, you know, gets to see the nice side of this fabric already. My hands are so lucky, you know. So yeah. And then what else was I gonna say? So like I said, I really wanted you guys to come up with some ideas for themes. I think one of mine, doesn't my machine sound different? Why does it sound different? makes me nervous. It's not allowed to do anything. It's sewing really nicely. All right, so let's see. I can do my center front seam. So this is the first step of the zipper. You're gonna line up your center fronts. You don't need to serge both of these flies. I just do so I don't have to remember which one it is that I need to serge or finish the edge of. Only one will be showing to the inside of your pants. All right, so there's a circle right here on the pattern that you need to clip to, and that little circle should line up with this notch right here, and that is basically your center front seam. And you're gonna baste from this notch all the way to that circle that you can't really see right here, but I've clipped to. And then from there, you're gonna back stitch, put your stitch length back to normal, and go all the way down. And it's the same with, like, pretend like this is the rise of my pants. They would go right here and stop. That's all you need to do. We're just gonna pretend like that's my rise, okay? And then we'll be in line with the exact same instructions as the Ginger Jeans zipper fly. All right, I don't need to do anything with that. Stay, right? I better look at the instructions. All right, so I'm basting to that notch. And now I'm gonna switch it back to my regular length. I had to watch my zipper fly video to remember how to do this. I was doubt. And now because this is my rise now, the center front seam, I'm just gonna go all the way down. I was gonna do a flat felled seam and I'm not going to. I just realized that this would be where I would do it. So I apologize for that. All right, so this now needs top stitching, we're gonna set aside. So, oh, Kathleen, you have the ash, the ginger, the Eddystone. I haven't heard of those. And white denim. Are they all, so is the Eddystone a stretch as well? Which one's the Eddystone? Who's that by? I don't know. This needs, that needs top stitching in that color thread too. So I'm gonna do the seam of my yoke now. This is my center back. This is my center back. The deeper part of your yoke goes to the center back, just like this. I'm gonna sew it together. There it is! Yay! I knew it would turn up. You've been racking your ideas for me, maybe I couldn't think of anything. I did order some nice. Oh, nice. Itch to stitch. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, oh, yeah, I did. You know, it's based on the fact that those are all the jeans you bought. I'm imagining you're curvier than straight. I feel like I can kind of recall the Eddystone. You know, honestly, I think, like, I would just pick one. They're all so similar that I don't go for one over another in my closet. The Mountain View pull-ons, that's definitely like, oh, I want a day where I don't have a waistband around my stomach and I don't mind having to kind of pull them up a little bit occasionally. Those could be a little tighter around the waist on me. So, you know, other than that, the only reason I pick the ashes is when I want a black pair of jeans. But I really like those. And when I put those on, they just go whoop, right to me. They kind of just fit really well that way. I really like that. All right, so now we're going to top stitch. Let's get rid of some of these stitches. So when I went to serge my kick pleat, I wanted all these edges serged. But it meant I folded the fabric back on itself like this and then I serged on, so I still have a few stitches to kind of, this one's not bad. I might actually just leave that, but the other side, I'll show you what I did. You see it right there? Ooh, it's so dark. It's so dark. Let's see. That's so bright. Yeah, are you interested in the Cali spell? Because I am. See that? So when I just like you guys probably struggle with serging these interior corners. Exterior corners, no problem. Interior corners are always a trick. So on this one, let's see, I went down this and I just folded this out of the way, right? Like that, and I can just go right off the edge. It doesn't matter if the machine is going over anything as long as the knife isn't, right? So I just make sure this is out of the way of the knife by kind of gently angling it away. But then to get right here, I did the same thing. I folded this like this, and I kind of had to sew on there a little bit. And I didn't even get on there very good because I was being a little bit nervous. But you could get on there even more. And then as long as you're not really like hurting your fabric anywhere, like honestly, I don't even need to take this out because it falls inside the seam allowance, but I will, you know. You can kind of get a little closer with your serging. I'll just take it out like towards the body of the garment. These stretch denims can be a little unforgiving with your stitches. So you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to go in the middle of your garment. See, and it's fine. All right, so let's switch to the top stitch thread. There's nothing else I can do, right? Make sure. Oh, nice. Yeah, so if you know that the mountain views worked for you, I would maybe start with the Eddystone because you know her pattern fit you and go from there. All right. So I'm just putting my top stitch thread on the top. If you don't have a heavy duty top stitch thread, you can still use a contrast. It'll still look good. It definitely looks better with this heavier weight. You can see the little top thread kind of pulling through, so I'm gonna crank down my, I really need a new place to stitch. That's a lot better. I just don't like feeling those ridges. Oh, that's pretty good. This one here. There's a few. It likes the, it kind of varies. Let's do this. I'm gonna really crank that one. Yeah, that was too thin of the fabric. Let's try this thick edge right here. Oh, that's perfect. So it really likes the thicker fabric. Looked like it was popping out of the tension disc. All right, let's top stitch. Yeah, and I feel like that pattern drafter, the Itch to Stitch gal, Kenneth, I really think she would actually be really, like, I get the vibe from her patterns and pattern drafting that she would actually be very consistent using her patterns and sizing across all her patterns. I'm sure all the pattern companies are like that. So I feel like you would know what to expect. This is so tight, it's popping out of my tension disc. I'm just gonna watch it. My machine has 2 dials on the front, and I always adjust both, but I've been told repeatedly this is not my tension disc. I can see a little thread here I'm gonna take out. That the little tiny one is. It's right here, see? So, I don't know if you can really see, but I have this little dial right here, and I have this one that looks like a traditional tension disc, and this is the one I always adjust on my industrial. You probably only have one if you have any at all on your home machine, but don't be shy about adjusting it. There you go. that better? Got a little bit of like the rippling that happens when you sew across stretched denim, but that really calms down in the wash and over wear, with wear, so don't worry about it. Just try and respect it a little bit. If you see it really bad, ease up on your presser foot. Maybe release it occasionally as you're sewing along like that, and keep going. If you have one of those twin needles, lucky you. That makes it a lot easier. I find if I don't stop, I get more even top stitching. It's not my strong suit. I use actual top stitching thread. It's called that. I don't think it says it on there, but it is a different weight. I actually find the thread things pretty frustrating to read because they don't have the weight on there, and if they do, it doesn't make sense to me. Normal sewing machine thread for a home machine is Tex 27. On my industrial, I use Tex 40. That's heavier than that, so I don't really know what to say about that. Just pick top stitching thread. I've used quilting thread as well, and it seems fine. It's just not as full. It's not as like thick, so. I think I have some of that here, actually. Oh, it's not right there, though. Did I just get that wiggly? Man, I'm taking that out. Should be pretty easy. Is it too dark for you guys? I feel like I'm talking a lot today. So let's talk about themes. What do we want out of Me Made May this year? What do you guys want? Or do you just not want to have to do anything? You know, like you just want to do whatever comes to mind, because that is totally understandable. Some of the things we thought about, I should have gone and listened back to the end of the stream on Saturday. Was some of the things I threw out there were a free pattern week, doing the mending or caring for your hand knits, like kind of, oh, I've got, hey Becca, welcome. Oh, I noticed that this collar stand's coming apart, you know, and now I want to fix it. So that kind of thing, like I have a few things. I noticed that my rise seam on my Sew House 7 free range slacks, I don't know what happened, but it's popping. So I need to fix that. Swimwear. Kathleen, where were you on Saturday? You can't just throw out swimwear. I don't have any swimwear fabric or elastic. I'm sorry. It's probably, I don't know if I'll ever sew swimwear. I'll have to be honest with you. I don't swim. I know. It's terrible. I have a pool too. Not for long, but I do. I am interested in doing bras and undies though some point. So we can talk about that. I've drafted swimwear patterns, but I've never sewn it. Better fitting clothes to your body. Do you have a particular garment, like a shirt or pants or anything? What are you doing here? This thread's all... The thread's twisting up. Do you see that? Look at that. That's my face. All right, let's do this. I'm not going to do any fun pocket stitching on my skirt either. What are you doing, machine? Oh, wait a minute. Are you guys shouting at me yet? Undies, lingerie, bra, panties. Working in the yard. Oh, yeah. I guess you could wear swimwear in the yard. Yeah, I live in California and it's pretty hot here. And my dermatologist, like, literally does a happy dance when I come into her office pasty white in July. Because I can't be out in the sun. I have rosacea, so it's kind of a disaster now for me. Yeah, so the bra and undies thing. I was actually thinking of, like, devoting a month to that this summer. You know? Because I haven't sewn. I've sewn a lot of knits. I've done double needle cover stitch. I've done leggings. I've done cover stitch with elastic. I've done all the things. I've just never done it on lingerie. So I was thinking, like, of doing a whole month devoted to that and kind of skill building for me and you guys. Tanks and capris. Yeah, like summer clothes you're thinking, Megan, for May. Welcome, by the way. All right, so now I'm going to attach my pocket to the pants. Just gonna trim these down. These scissors are hecka sharp. All right, so the Ginger Jeans pocket, I don't know if you can see it, but the one in my left, the side in my left hand has a gentle curve, whereas the one in my right is straighter. If I fold it on that point right there, it really illustrates it, how different it is. So this little curved side is gonna go towards the hip, the side seam, I should say. Just make sure you don't flip it. I don't think it'd be a big deal, but you might notice it. That's what I'm wondering, Angela. Yeah, okay, Louise, cool. Yeah. Yeah, you think so, Liza, for May? That was fun. That was the gym short, right? The Pearl Soho gym short. I could totally use some shorts myself. I start with my pocket upside down. I'm going to tuck this little corner in here too. Like this. Let's see. I'm going to fold this back 5/8. I'm going to take this corner and fold it like this. I just, you know, do not like, you guys hear me always whine about it. I don't like my edge popping out. Will this cover my hole? I used my screw punch to mark my holes. Talk about a lazy move. So I gotta be careful. I gotta really make sure I cover that hole up. I want to cover it. I want to end the stitching. That's what I'm going for right now. All right, like this. Okay. So do you have any, I'm actually gonna, so this one I'm gonna do a double stitch. Do you have any ideas? Because I was thinking of making shorts, like drafting them from a pair of pants I already have. Yeah. Oh, did you, Louise? That's nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was kind of hoping, not so secretly in my head, to maybe upgrade my home machine so that I could do more with the zigzag, or upgrade my serger. It's kind of time. I'm trying to get this curve. I think it's kind of time. But with the virus and all that, I'm not sure it's going to happen. So that's kind of where I'm at, to be honest. Like, I was like even thinking about making all of May about the bras and underwear, and I'm like, you know, I just don't think I have the right machine to do that. I think I can do that with this machine, but I don't think, like, doing that is helpful for everyone else. Oh, I just did one stitch too many. Wait, let me finish this. I'm doing kind of a bad job on this. So I'd really like to have, be using machines that I feel like everyone could kind of have do something similar, you know? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh my god. Yeah, that's not so great, is it? Oh boy. I have to take that out. I'm going to take it out right here. When one stitch is one stitch too many. It sounds like a soap opera. I can tell that my stress level is a little higher lately because words don't come into my mind when I want them to. You know what I mean? Not so secretly. Well, meaning Louise, I actually haven't said anything, so it's not like, but I'm not keeping it a secret to myself, I guess, you know? Well, Angela, I am not technically a quilter. I would feel a little bit like you guys all know better than me for a lot of that stuff. I'm teaching myself a little bit as kind of a hobby. Now, we got it. And I'm doing two quilting projects right now. I'm doing that one on the Ruby Star, the rainbow quilt by Ruby Star. And I'm also doing this mini series Sew Along. So I'm learning. I don't really feel like that's something I would do with you guys. Okay, that looks you know, it's okay. I think I might backstitch just a little more so the weight of the thread is even on both sides. Isn't that funny how sometimes you can just really get like right in the exact same holes? So yeah, so for I'm interested in doing the bras and underwear thing mostly because I'm a product sewer and I would really like to try it out myself. I feel like isn't there a month devoted to this, like in September? I can't remember what it's called. Because maybe there would be a lot of resources available and discounts for the materials for all of us, you know? I think that would be kind of cool. I need a couple pins here. And maybe by then I could have like a home machine that does all the things that your home machine would do. But which, Eliza? What about summer dresses for May? We did a lot of summer dresses last May. I would really like to do the callus belt. The two dresses I really want to sew right now, personally. And May is my birthday month, so I'm making these dresses either way, with or without the string probably. If I have the time. I don't know if I might have the time. August. Yeah, Louise. Yeah, maybe August. Let's do this in August then. I think that'll be good. We can gear up for it. I want to do the Kalispell dress by Itch to Stitch. Her patterns come in lots of sizes and cup sizes as well. And I want to do the Maya Sotis dress. I'm getting pretty good at saying that, aren't I? By Deer and Doe. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that dress has a option without all the ruffles. Because I know the ruffles kind of put you guys off. I'm kind of down for it. I'm not a ruffle person, but I kind of like the silhouette of that dress, and I think it would be good for my silhouette. So you need them now, though. Yeah, but you need them now. Yeah, Sandy, I like that. I like that idea a lot. There is a pattern company I follow that makes athletic wear, and her business is Fair Trade. It's her last name, Fehr Trade. She actually has an incredible story, like herself, health-wise, like as far as like what I think she had a bone marrow transplant. Pretty sure that's what it was. Hopefully, I'm not getting her confused with someone else. But she does like marathons and stuff, or she's a pretty serious runner, and I think she's really inspiring, and she does some athletic patterns. Stop it. Stop it. This thread is so thick it wants to pop out of my tension disc. I've never had that happen. I just got worried that these were like not symmetrical. So for May, I want to do something that I have the stuff for, because I don't mind ordering something, but it means if I have to order anything, we might not be doing it till the end of the month. You know what I mean? So I like doing the Sunday V-neck as one of our patterns, as a free pattern, because it's a free pattern and it's size inclusive. It'd be good to find a short I'm try-harding. Alright, that one went a little better. And then I'm going to just mimic this heavier stitching on this outer edge like I did on the other one. Alright. Phew. I made those look a lot harder than it really was. Alright, let's top stitch the front. So now we have our backs ready for the center back seam, but I need different thread on for that. We have a lot of ideas on Saturday. Oh, yeah, I saw that one, Sandy, and there's a discount right now in the newsletter for that. I had some fit concerns on it, so I wanted to look at it a little closer. But the Myosotis dress has a similar view to that without all the ruffles. I love the idea of a really simple dress, like with a waist and a button front, or anything that's kind of a day dress style. I'm always looking for the perfect day dress. Kind of a woven version of the Monetta, you know? Don't look at my top stitching, okay? She wrote a book. Yeah, I think she did, Louise. Yeah, she's British. So, you think which were very popular patterns? Am I keeping up or not? Why is Sandy and Louise the same color right now? Oh, Nancy wanted to know what color she is. She's purple. She's always purple on my screen for me. And I don't think there's like maybe one other person that gets to be purple occasionally. You guys don't stay those colors, but that's what pops into my head. When you do these curves, I will say, like, I'm not doing the best job right now. Don't use your zipper foot. Make sure you're using like a full contact foot. And if you can kind of keep that curve going at the like without stopping or slowing down, you're most likely going to get it more even. It's okay. Let's see how it looks against the fabric here. Ugh. Let's do this. All right. Keep it nice and relaxed. I'm just going to stitch this down a little bit here and here and here. Makes it a little easier to manage. Let's see how I did. See, so here's the trick. When you're doing this top stitching along these curves like this, it can look kind of wibbly wobbly, especially when you see it close to this edge right here. But the trick is when you have this other fabric behind it, your little narrow edge right here between the stitching and this edge, it doesn't show up as bad because you have this fabric right here kind of hiding any little bumps, you know, and bobbles. This look could be a little better. But that's my trick. Yeah, the hinterland, exactly. Oh, is she Dutch? Oh, maybe she's Dutch. Yeah, exactly, Walter, right? Far away it looks. The myosotis, Sandy. Can I spell that? They all heard me the other day. I could barely say it. It's MYOSOTIS by Deer and Doe. Oh yeah, the Southport and the Yari. There's a lot of options. Okay, so now we're going to continue with our zipper fly, but let me think about my pocket stay here. I didn't get it in the, see, I'm already failing. I didn't get it in there. This is going to fold back on itself like this. It's going to fold back on itself like this, and then it's going to all go to this side like this. So I think it's this side that you can kind of trim, right? Pretty sure this side can go up to the line here and just go back on itself like that. And I can get rid of all this. But this side goes like that, right? I got the directions out today. Let's see if I can get this silly thing that foils just me correct this time. So they don't show it. Maybe that's why I get confused. Yeah, they actually don't show it. They show the pocket folded right there. I feel so much better. You guys can't see that. It's so bright. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, she's American? Oh, interesting. The fringe pattern. I don't need my tag yet. Thanks, Megan. Megan is my tag reminder. Yeah, right, Walter? I like the way you think. I thought about some of the things you said the other day when I was like kind of feeling out like, do I do the channel membership thing? You know, stuff like that. And I was like, I heard Walter saying, you do every avenue you can. It was kind of cool. Yeah, so look at this. I feel so much better. So see the pocket right here? That's the pocket. There's the top stitching this is the top stitching right here. And it's folded back. It's not in there. I feel vindicated. This is why I always forget it. This is so funny. But I should have put that in there. You should find I think I'm going to skip that because of the, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, she lives on a boat. That's her. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think you're right, Walter. I might be just a piecer. Not just, but I kind of see this going like that. I'm going to kind of smooth that out a little bit. You see that little... I don't want that. Oh, but I have the top stitching on. Dang it. How is it going to be? Let's open this up. Yeah, I might need to smooth that out a little bit. I do not need a point right there. Am I right or what? All right, we're going to switch our thread real quick. Melissa Fair, yeah. The Southport is that like the Rita shirt dress? Because I really love the Rita shirt dress. I feel like it is. It's a long dress, right, with a button front. Walter, you know, feel free to chime in with something. I don't know what you like to sew. And if you sew clothing, and if you sew men's clothing, women's clothing, or what, maybe you're a piecer, maybe you're a quilter. But feel free, you know, I don't want to exclude anybody as far as what they want out of Me Made May. Maybe you want the things we're talking about. I'm just going to kind of taper this from down here. Do I leave? I'm gonna leave them in there. Wait. I'm just putting my center front stitch back in here and making it smooth, a smooth line. See that right there? I didn't do my little thread test on a scrap piece of fabric first. So there's a bunch of thread vomit. Now you know why I do that. The Monty, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It does have that button placket, doesn't it? All right, I'm going to get rid of some of this center front stitch, just so it's not hard to take out later. It's a big old basting stitch, so it should be pretty easy. My seam ripper is so sharp. I got a new seam ripper, new scissors. It's like I'm a new person. You saw how I had that little point right there? It needs to, this is my center front of a skirt. It's not pants, you know? I want it to look a little better than that. Ah, you know, I was thinking like a UFO mode, a UFO couple days would be pretty good. Oh, you're making a sweater for your dad? That's nice. Like a sewn one or a knitted one? Or crocheted even. That looks better, huh? I'm about to top stitch this, so it's gonna cover it up. All right. I'm just gonna leave all that in there for now and decide later. So let's see, we should put all of this to the right? It's so thick. I'm doubting this stay, you guys. I'm doubting it. Oh, the Ranger by Brooklyn too. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Walter, I so know what you mean. Sometimes even if I have to absolutely work on something and get something done, I can't until something else is, like something in particular is gone. You know what I mean? Like I have that, even if it's like I don't have any time to pick up the table and clean it off, which I keep it pretty tight. Like right now there's nothing on either of my tables. I still will have to do it. Like there's always something, you know? So I totally get that. All right, so I feel like I'm destined not to sew this pocket stay correctly. It's my lot in life, you know? All right, so, yeah, we move all of the... I'm I'm looking at the edge that I top stitch here. So let's show the top stitching. Flip your jeans over so the right side is facing. Place raised notch from just below the thigh and being careful. Okay, the finished card seam to the left. Okay, that's right. I'm gonna clip this all the way. These are not the scissors. All the way to the seam. That notch, remember that circle I told you about at the very beginning? So just clip it all the way to the seam. Remember, this is my rise. Consider it my rise. I'm really messing. Open it up. Open your fly up. Press this seam all the way to the right as you're facing the outside skirt. So it's going to the left front, right? So I have this whole seam going toward this side of the skirt. But at the fly right here to that notch, this rise or the fly is open. And we're going to stitch all along this edge here. This is the only time to do this stitching. And as nerve-wracking as it may seem, because you're like, I don't really want to commit to sewing my fly yet or something like that, this is the only opportunity you're going to get to do this. And it really does make your fly look more polished and professional if you add this stitching. So I'm just sewing along that seam there. It's probably kind of dark. Sorry about that. Finally finished objects. I like it. All right, well, you guys all seem kind of hot to trot on the UFO thing. Do you guys want to do a UFO week? Yeah, you feel a little guilty. Yeah, and it shouldn't be like that, totally. Yeah. All right. There's one, and now I'm going to do another one. Because this is how the Ginger jeans had you do it. There's just so much stuff sitting right here. Two rows. Now, if you have one of those twin needles, you could have used that at this stage. Those are pretty handy. The thing about twin needles that makes them look so good is because the stitches, each stitch that you're sewing is perfectly across from one another. And there's something about that uniformity that makes your two parallel lines look even better. My stitch length is too short right now. So no matter how good I did this, it would still look better with a twin needle. It's just the nature of the beast. All right, so now we have our skirt stitched on one side of the fly and on both sides of the seam allowance there, okay? It's a lot of threads. Okay. 2 budgies. What the heck? Cool, Walter. I feel like that is something like a lot of people stress about, especially during Me Made May. Everyone's posting all these outfits, all these things they've made, all these things they've made. And then you're like, oh, all these things I haven't finished, all these things I haven't finished. I can't join in because I haven't done those things. I like the idea of relieving people's stress as far and guilt when they're going to sew, because it shouldn't be like that at all. This is one thing I love about knitting, is if a project's not going good or it's stalled out or there's a fit issue or you're not liking it, the one thing about knitting it has over sewing is you can unknit all the yarn, reskein it, and set it aside. You can just set it aside. Even if it's a sweater you knit and you've worn for 2 years, you can unknit it all, wash the yarn because it'll be all kinky, and then reskein it and use it for another project. And I really like that. You know, it's the same. Like I see a lot of knitters buy sweaters from thrift stores and unknit the yarn, just unravel it and use the yarn. And so it is kind of forgiving that way. It does take a lot longer though. Oh, parakeets, budgies. Where did your kids get budgies? Or parakeets? All right, let me look at that. I feel like now I'm not trusting myself. Okay. All right, let's leave that open there. Where's my zipper? So I'm not using this this little interfacing piece because I'm throwing it away because there's so much fabric right here with the pocket stays. This is really thick, you know. This is gonna get stitched this way, and I'm pretty sure this one comes back over. Wait, no, they both go like, yeah, they both go this way like that. So I think I can trim this off right here. Don't you guys think so? Doing it. I've gotten myself into so much trouble every time I do this, though. Oh boy. I'm gonna use my new little scissors because they're serrated, and that means hopefully the fabric doesn't unravel as much. There we go. It's a little less bulk there now. All right, so I have my fly shield. I'm gonna sew across the bottom of it right here. And if you're serging this edge, you can do it after you do this step here, so you don't have two sides serged separately. Oh shoot, we have the top stitch thread on. Yeah, I need to switch that. Yeah. Oh. Let's see, do you think I can get my, oh no, I still need my back seam. Okay, perfect, perfect. Remember that time I was playing thread chicken with the top stitch thread? And I had to rethread my machine all the way because I needed to save as much as possible. Knitting has a reset button, yeah. I mean, the drawback, I mean, of it is that you've spent so much more time creating the project. So to unknit it sounds unfathomable. But at the same time, you still have your material, and a lot of the yarn can be really expensive. It's more expensive than sewing often for a sweater. All right, let's get the... All right, so now we have our skirt front, and I want to do this back seam before I forget, because once I do that fly, the next step on the fly, I'll probably go right to the top stitch thread. I don't want to interrupt the fly any more than I have to, so I'm gonna deal with this back seam here and try and remember how to sew a kick pleat. So my top stitch thread often does this. It kind of folds itself back into the seam. Let's see if there's one on this side. Yeah, you see it right there. That's just my tail. And it just makes your sewing look nicer if you can kind of remember to get rid of those kinds of things. Get all that thread to the seam allowance like that. Makes your sewing look tidier. So this center back seam, I have a couple tricks with this. Here's another. This one might be because I took one out too. It sucked it into the bobbin. Let's get rid of it. Okay. So I like to match, like, so here's my yoke seam. It's really dark, sorry. So here's my yoke seam right here where my thumbnail is. And there's my top stitching. And so instead of matching the seam, I will often try and match the top stitching across from itself if it's not matching up with the seam as well. And that way, when it's sewn, it looks like the stitching is continuous. It gives it a more of the illusion of it. If you're doing a lighter color fabric, you might prefer if the seam and the stitching both line up. I mean, I do too, right? So, it's just something to think about when you do that top stitching. My machine's not liking this fabric. I can hear it. Alright, so I'm gonna... Forgive me while I ran out of bobbin thread. That's why it sounds funny. I knew that would happen. I already had one ready. That's so good. We ran out of bobbin thread on the center back seam and not the Zipper fly, right? Oh, your mom took them to Petco. I have a friend whose sister, did I tell you guys this? Her little sister, who's my sister's age, or my daughter's age. So she's 17. She's graduating high school as well. So her sister came home without telling the family and bought a border collie, a puppy. And she's like, I'm terrified of this dog. I swear it's going to bite me. They've never had like a cat or dog or anything. This dog's just ruling the roost. It's kind of funny. I'm finding it entertaining. When she showed me a picture of the dog, I was like, oh, you got a border collie? She's like, what? What's Jeremy? What does that mean? Is it going to kill us in our sleep? They literally don't know much about the breeds. And I was like, no. It means you're going to become a runner or a jogger because you're going to have to keep that dog busy. All right, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go just past this angled edge. I know someone out there is rolling their eyes watching this going, why'd you draft the pattern like that if you don't know how to sew it? I'll figure it out. Give me some time. Let me get rid of all this though. It's a really cute dog though. All right, so sure it goes right over left as you're looking at it. Like that. Like that. Room for my booty. So this one I think gets stitched down like this. Right? And this one gets hemmed. Right? Anyone know? As long as I have it clean finished, right? I don't even have to, but it's nice to. I'm going to sew this along the top. That's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to sew this along the top. So I didn't have to stop right there. I'm going to keep going. Like that. These scissors are hard to get used to. Very lazy dog. You're looking for a lap puppy? Aw, pugs, but they're really expensive as far as maintenance goes. I really love Loki, don't get me wrong at all, but me and my husband actually wonder, would we do this again? Because they're really prone to a lot of things. If you live in a mild climate, I would totally recommend them. They're just like the essence of pure joy. Everything makes them happy. And that is really nice to be around. It's really infectious and it really like, it just makes everybody feel great, you know? I'm trying to get like a right angle down here like this. I'm going to pin this. Like this. I think I'm going to top stitch it on that side, like that. So this one I'm going to stitch down, but this one I think I should have hemmed back on itself. That's what it is, right? I just pretend to be an expert. Okay, so this I should have hemmed first, right? Okay. Yeah, those Westies are so cute. Why what are their drawbacks? I don't really know much about them. When I worked at Hind, this fitness apparel company, the sales gal, the international sales gal, she had a Westie. Her name was Andy, and Andy loved to live under my desk, and I loved it. She was the cutest little thing. I would totally consider having one of those. All right, so now I've hemmed the edge that goes under the flap, this one right here. And this one I'm gonna stitch down like that. I'm gonna keep it out of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna put the seam back. So you're going to want to hem that first edge before you do the seam. What? Oh, I see what's going on. Yeah, it's supposed to do that. Okay, fine, I'll take the pin out. I'll review my steps when just a second here. Let me get rid of some of these threads and sew that seam. Okay, so what I would do if you were doing one of these little like vents that you need in the back of your skirt is on your right back, hem that edge right there, and then sew your center back seam, pivot here at the seam allowance and go across the top there. And then I'm going to probably use the top stitch thread to top stitch the center back seam and then go across the vent. I'll leave this out of the way, but it is out of the way already, and just stitch it down like that. Because see, even if I top stitch across right now, it'll miss this little vent right there, and then I'll have that stitch. Okay, I figured it out. See? Are they a handful? Really? I didn't know that. You can definitely see my booty in these things. All right, so these need a top stitch thread now, and then they're done, the backs. So now let's continue on with our fly. Do the fun stuff now. We have our blue thread on. So we're going to sew our zipper on here now. Now, most jean zippers are brass, so this next part's kind of important, that you make sure that you line up your zipper tape to the bottom of the fly extension here. Do not line up your zipper to the bottom of this. You really need to allow for all this space right here, because this is where that stitching on the front of your jeans goes, that curved fly stitching is right here. So if you want to make sure you're not sweating it and you're going to accidentally go over your brass zipper, you want to just line up the zipper tape down here. There's no reason to have the zipper go all the way down there because you can't open it past this point anyway. So just line up your zipper tape there. You're going to butt the zipper tape up to the seam right here, the seam, not any top stitching, but the seam, like this. And remember, it's opened out. And your zipper is face down, see? And we're going to pick this up like this, right? I hope I'm doing this right. I'm going to double check. And then we're going to sew it down. Right, but I do mean that about the zipper. You're lining up your, I'm going to even raise it up higher. I'm going to line this edge up with this bottom edge. I'm going to put my pins in there. I'm going to double check my sewing instructions. Since, you know, I like to doubt myself when I'm in a hurry. Yep. Top stitch it down. Okay, so I'm going to stitch this down. I'm going to switch to my zipper foot now. Tag. What does tag mean? Oh, the tag. I know. Waistband. You need to remind me of the waistband, Megan. I have it sitting with the waistband already. So I don't have a traditional zipper foot, so my needle doesn't go to the left or the right of the foot. It just goes through the middle, but it's very narrow. All right, so face down. See, it's face down. Lined up at the edge there, and we're going to top stitch close to the zipper there. Double checking. Okay. I'm going through the pocket stays and all of it right now because that's what I'm assuming you do. All right, and then we're going to flip it like this. See that? Flip. And we're going to top stitch this edge along that seam that we just sewed. It's a little harder with this zipper foot because I don't have much purchase on the fabric. You could do your contrast stitching here, but I'm not going to take the time to switch it right now. I know, right, Eliza? If I forget the tag today, I'll feel like I let Megan down big time. You got my bag, Megan. All right. Let's put my pins back here. Okay. I like to turn over the jeans or skirt, whatever, upside down to me like this. Because of the way we're about to sew it, it makes it a little easier because I know that I want the garment to the left of my sewing machine head, and this is how it'll make it be anyway. So you're gonna put it face down, and then you see how it kind of naturally just wants to flop over here like that. You're not turning it like this, it just flops over because we just top stitched it down right here. So now just take it and lay it down just like it wants to do. And now we're going to put 2 rows of stitching to the right of the zipper. And see, now I didn't have to turn my garment over or anything. Two rows. It's a high stress area. So I put in 2 rows right here on the zipper tape onto this fly extension. So this is how it's looking right now. Just like that. Let's get rid of these threads. Alright, and I'm pretty sure we can take out the basting stitch now. We stitch our fly down, and then we put our fly shield on and we're done. See, I didn't really need to doubt myself, did I? Okay, yeah, I got this. I'm not going to keep doubting myself. All right, so now we're going to do our decorative and functional curved fly stitching there. Switch to our top stitch thread right now. We're almost to the side seams and waistband, so this is going pretty good. I can switch my presser foot out now. All right. My glasses won't even stay up on my head anymore. All right, so there is a fly top stitch template in the Ginger Jeans pattern you can use to kind of get this nice curve right here. I just like to feel the fly shield right here. You can also chalk it if you like. Ooh, I have my new washable markers. I'm going to try them. I don't know if we'll be able to see them, but I'm going to try. It's better than nothing. All right. Let's see. Let's try it out. All right, so let's find some fabric to draw on. See what I can see. I can kind of see that. I can see the red okay. So let's try that. So we have our fly, and remember, look, I'm going to stitch right through here, and there's no brass zipper. There's right there. So yeah, you really want to make sure you put that as high up as possible. Looks like mine slipped down even. I'm just going to do one row. Using my washable markers. Yeah. Here's my brass. I can feel it. It's right there. So I definitely want to stay away from it. All right. Okay, let's do this. Should I lighten that up again? Sorry. Yell at me when it gets too bright. Looks better though, huh? Let's see, where's my red? Okay. Ooh, I love having a line to top stitch on. So when you go around this curve, try not to stop if you can. Alright, so now we have our fly there. And when we put the shield on, the other last pattern piece, we'll do our little bar tack right here. And then I'm pretty sure at the end of the jeans, you need to do one more bit of top stitching right here. So just pay attention to that because you have those two joins right there. So this is nice and flat. It's really easy to encompass all this nicely. But with the curved rise right here, you might have a little bit poking out. So just make sure it's all caught in there or it looks good to you. All right, so now we're going to go back to our thread and put our fly shield on and take out our basting stitch and we're done. So if you want to watch a concise video for this, I have one. It's like 10 minutes long and you can even fast forward through me talking at the beginning. So it's pretty quick. I really want to re-record that video, but I'd lose all the stats for it. But it just seems so, I mean, I'm such an amateur already doing video, and that one seems even more amateurish. All right, so we're gonna sew our bottom edge of this fly shield. I'm gonna trim it. And now if you like, you turn it to the right side. You can finish this edge right here as one, so you don't have the two layers of serging like I do. Just helps reduce bulk, you know? Okay, so now we're on this side. Over fly shield. It's gonna go, oh, look how long this thing is. I'm gonna shorten it. Put it about right there. Look how long that thing is. What the heck? I'm gonna shorten it and I'm gonna cover up, see all this little mess here? I'm gonna cover it up like that. You don't want it too long because you don't want this corner kind of winging out. Line it up to this edge here and then you're gonna stitch it down. Stitch it on there. You're gonna pick it up so it's separate from the jeans. Make sure this edge is all lined up if you didn't serge it in one like I didn't. Go like about right there. I kind of don't want this winging out right here. And I think with jeans you wouldn't have that. I will have this top stitched here and this will be stitched. Maybe I want this a little shorter. Maybe I'll pick my battles. let's do our basting stitch. Remove that. At the center front seam. I feel like I should have done this first. Did I forget to do something? Fast forward to see. Hi, Patty. How's it going? I did draw it on. I never have before, though. I have one fly that I'm like, yeah, I could have done a better job of that. You can really feel it. Like, I had trouble feeling it today because the pocket stay adds so much thickness in there that I was having trouble feeling the curve as much as usual. But usually I can feel that curve. And the funny thing is my machine wants to stay on that extra thickness right there. So if I don't like pull too much, it actually kind of stays on there as a guide. The feed dogs feel it. This seam ripper is so sharp, I'm being really careful and I'm ripping the stitches. Otherwise, usually I would probably pull it out so that I didn't have to rip it and have all these extra threads. All right, so here, let's get rid of these threads. All right, probably can't see them, but there's a ton of them. Get rid of those. I usually just like to do it from the other side, and then I don't have this kind of all these little threads. Because there's a lot. Do you see them all? I think the awl is a safer bet here. Pull this and then cut it, and then that way it sucks back in there. It's enclosed in the seam, so it's not a big deal. All right. Now is technically when you would attach the fly shield that I just did right here. Oh, I did to the wrong side. That's why that was weird. Didn't I? Yeah, I did, didn't I? No, I didn't. I didn't. That's funny. All right. Voila. There's my zipper fly. Looks good. There we go. I also advise don't cut this extra zipper off until you absolutely have to. The last thing you want is to have done all this, finish almost all the way, and then you slide your zipper slider off the top. I don't know how to get a zipper slider back on brass. Maybe it's pretty easy, but I don't want to find out. So that's my one tip is don't cut this off until you're at the stage where you absolutely have to. And that you can wait until the waistband is on there. Otherwise, make sure that you do some stitches across your zipper with the head down into the zipper here. And then you can do some stitches across, you know, separately, right? Make sure they're separate. And then that way your zipper head won't slide off. At least do it on one side really, really well so you don't accidentally. Don't do tight stitches because if your zipper head goes right over the stitches, it'll still slide off. So be really careful. All right, this looks really good. So the last thing I need is my bar tack right here. And then Closet Case has you do one right here as well. And that kind of hides all this inside here. On your jeans, it's probably messier than it is on my skirt, just so you know. So you have that left. So make sure that you're going to tack through and get your shield in there so your shield isn't flapping around. and then tack right across here to kind of enclose all that messy stuff down there. You can do it, you know, wherever it feels good to you to do. All right, so now we're ready to do the side seams and the waistband. So let's do that. We have the blue thread on, which is good. So we'll do the side seams, and then we'll top stitch and the center, back, and the sides, and then we'll do our waistband. We can probably do the hem at that point too. I might wait. Might see how it fits before I hem it. All right, so 5/8 inch seam. Stop it. I don't serge my hem because I'll roll hem it. I like that better. I like it when it's like rolled with the jean filling the hem so that I don't get any weird things. The tag too. Oof, Megan, I'm worried. I'm worried I'm gonna forget it. Put all your threads in the seam allowance. So if you haven't finished your side seams, you get to do it now, and it'll look so much nicer than mine. Because you can do this all as one, you know? You don't have all these little threads. You can serge right over. It would be so satisfying. I'm envious. Just trimming all these little threads because I'll probably, once I top stitch this, I won't look at this again. So I'm always doing my quality control as I go sewing so that I don't have to go back. All right, so now I think we're ready to do all of our top stitching. Right? I don't need the blue thread for anything, right? I'm gonna do that top stitch, that top stitch, that top stitched. Yeah, I think we're good, right? I can always put it back. So let's see. Let's get back to our Me Made May plans. So Sunday Me Neck tomorrow and Saturday. I think I'm liking the FFO. Why did I just pull my bobbin out? I'm liking the FFO idea. I have my own little pile of things. So we can just sew our FFOs together. Do we want a week of that, or what do you guys think? I don't know if you'll want to watch me do all my finished objects. I could do my quilts. I could actually do a whole week of it. That would be really fun. It is my birthday month, by the way, so I want to do what I want to do. Let me make this about me. Let's open the zipper fly here. It would be much easier to have top stitched the center back seam before I did the side seams, but I am doing the economy of the top stitching steps right now. All right, so the side seams, or the center back seams, pushing that way. Now you notice I also haven't been like pressing my seams. You can totally do it. I feel like denim is pretty, isn't as, I don't know, it's not as helpful. The denim is pretty easy to control by finger pressing. That sounded really funny, so I pulled it out. I'm just gonna make sure my bobbin case is fairly clean there. I can't reach the air. Oh, here's some. I usually clean after every bobbin change, but when I'm going back and forth, obviously, I'm not gonna. Look at that. There we go. That's a big fly. I can tell the back door is open. All right, let's do that again. That got better when I tightened it up. Do you hear it? Man, sounded bad. All right, so here we go. We're pushing. Hi, Andy. How's it going? I'm pushing this seam allowance to, as I'm facing it, pushing it that way. I saw this doing, see, look at that. That's what it was doing. That's why I pulled it out. There we go. We're just making a denim skirt today, Andy. I drafted it on Saturday. We're almost to the best parts. Well, I feel like doing the zipper fly is the best part. When you go through these really big thicknesses, just go one stitch at a time. Walk your hand wheel if you have to. My industrial loves that kind of stuff, so but you might not find your home machine relishes it as much as my machine does. Okay, so I'm getting down to that vent down there. Making sure it's all flat because I feel, well, that's the hem I'm feeling. Okay, great. So here's my angled seam is right here. I'm gonna go just below it, turn, I'm just following it. I'm gonna go past the hem I can feel in there so I don't catch it. And now I'm gonna stitch the vent down. Was that you, Sandy, that had said that to me on Instagram? Because I've heard that before. It's, I feel like it's an optical illusion because of the top stitching. Oh, cool, Andy. Yeah, no worries. Don't worry about it. You don't have to catch up. There's no test. Okay, so that's the seam I just did. Did the center back seam there. Came down. Went across the top hem there, and then I went down the hem of this side here. I missed this side because it's, you know, shy of that. Not bad for not knowing how to do one of those, eh? Probably would look nice if there was stitching here too, but when would I have done that? Because it's not like the fly. I mean, I guess what you could do is no, I think this is the easiest. There's probably a way to edge stitch that there, but all right. So now that's on there. Does it look? It does kind of look like it needs that, doesn't it? But it'll have the stitching along the hem here. I think it'll look normal. And then here's how it looks on the inside. There we go. Easy peasy. If doing this kind of makes you nervous, what you can do is just hem on either side like you would like on a shirt vent. You can totally do that if you want. There's ways to do it. This is just kind of a nicer way. A little more classy, I would say. Classy? Maybe I should say tailored. All right, so now we're to the, oh no, I'm going to do the side seam top stitching, sorry. So I'm only going to go down to the edge of the pocket down here. I'm going to press the seams towards the back. Get the other side of my skirt out of the way. I also need to decide, do I want, oh man, I have, see, here's one of my little sucked back in top stitch threads. Maybe I wanted a double stitch down the center back seam. I don't know, what do you guys think? That might be nice, you know? Say hi to Lily for you. Is that your wife, Andy? Oh, say hi to Lily for you. Hi, Lily. It's live. I'm just going to do a back stitch that's kind of heavier right there. I don't do a bar tack because I don't use my home machine on my... I just don't switch over. You can, though. A bar tack is just kind of like one side of a buttonhole. So it's a tight zigzag. How old are you, Lily? Everyone got to see Cricket in my stream the other day. She wanted to bring me lunch. She wanted my order. It was really nice. Alright, so I just did the side seam to there. You could probably do the whole side seam if you want. I mean, on the skirt, it's a lot easier to continue on because it's open. You don't have the inseam hindering you. Yeah, exactly, Sydney. I'm pretty sure that's what she means. So I think I actually will. Why not? It looks really nice to do it, and I think we're doing good on time. So I still put that little bar tack there at the bottom of the pocket. We'll just continue on. And maybe I can just pick this up from this side since my machine's in here right now. And we'll continue up the other side to where I stopped on it. I'm going to actually ask my sister, Andy. Yeah, I could have warned you about that. She was like, Dad. I meant to tell my sister that maybe she should plunk her kids down in front of my stream one day and I'll try and entertain them. Her husband is on that Navy ship, the USS Kidd. He is not infected right now. He's been tested twice, but she's worried, you know. We all are. All right, so there's my side seam. I continued all the way down. That looks way nicer. This is a denim skirt. It's looking a little cowgirl. I don't think I'm going to do the double stitching because of that, actually. I'm going to stay there. All right, so let's do our waistband. Tag! See, I had the tag right there. See, Megan? I had it. All right, so I have to switch my top stitching thread again. This wastes like a yard of top stitch thread every time I do this. What I should do probably is, I should probably, I don't know if I could do that actually. I was gonna say I should probably like clip my top stitch thread, and then that way maybe I would use it. Use the last bit. Oh, I love threading my machine on camera. All right. Cute. All right, so I have my waistband here. Loosened up my, I've been loosening up my tension every time I switch back. So that way it's not doing some drag. All right, oh, that's right. I pieced together my waistband here because I was really low on fabric. So let's sew this together. And one way, like, see how I overlapped these pieces like this? So now the trick, right, is to get them together at the exact same amount. What you can do when it's like this is just notch. Even if you don't get it in the middle, just make sure when you put these right sides together, pick it up and put it right sides together. Just line it up at the notch, no matter where it is. You see, look, I didn't get that one very even. And then it will still line up. Kind of a quick and dirty way to do it. See, my machine likes the quilting cotton so much more. Is this one pieced? This one is not. All right, perfect. I'm going to trim off this Sharpie. And we'll just pretend like this is one piece of fabric now. Just like that. Can't even really see, right? Yeah, I think it is just an optical illusion, Sandy. It's just one of those things, you know? All right, so let's see here. I like to be a little bit methodical about my waistband. So this one is the right front. That. This one is the left front. Yep. So now I'm going to put the side seams together here, or the center back seam together, I mean. And now I'm going to do this one here. .5/8" seam. So I had to piece together my waistband because I wanted to save a little bit of fabric. I also wanted a little more structure because it's so stretchy. So this is one of the ways I do it. I think what I'll do is top stitch on either side of the center back seam to flatten out the fabric. I'm not going to use top stitch though because I don't really want to call attention to it. I'll leave the lining. That'll be fine. Like that. And so now we have our waistband ready to sew. It'll be very obvious, like, which is the left and which is the right now. So let's hope that my waistband fits. So at the 5/8" seam allowance. My waistband is also less tall than the one that comes with the pattern. I don't think I mentioned that on Saturday, but I just thought I'd tell you guys. I think I took 1.5 inches off. Don't quote me on that though. Oh, do you want me to tone that down a little bit? Where's the mouse? I'm surprised Megan's not yelling at me to turn it down. I don't know why I did that. I'm about to be on denim anyway. So one of my weak points of sewing when I sew something is lining up the center front waist. It's one of those things that I'm so aware of it that I'm getting pretty good about not letting it happen, you know? You can see that this got a little stretched, a little bit bigger. So I'm looking for that edge there. See? It's okay. All right, so I sewed the top edge of the waistband, and now I'm going to sew the traditional way that I like to do, which is I sew from the inside of the pant to the outside, and I finish on the denim. Oh, I forgot my interfacing. Oh my God. I gotta sew this on here. Sorry, guys. It was sitting right here. I'll just sew it on after the fact. Line it up all on here. And then I'm gonna sew it from the right side so I can see where my stitch line was. If you use fusible interfacing, you're not worried about this at all. It was already on there for you. So what I mean by one of my weak areas of sewing and getting that center front waistband to match up there is the waist seam like this, and then the width of the waistband across from each other is the same height. I will get so focused on one, I'll forget the other. And I usually just fix it right there, so you get to see me fix it if I do it, unless I forget, which I sometimes do. I can smooth out this sewing line, which is kind of nice. All right, so now we have the interfacing on there. I'm going to stick this on the back waist, my tag right here. I like to center it over the seam allowance because I think it looks weird centered over the seam, just kind of like what Sandy's talking about. It's an optical illusion. It is the inside of my garment, you know. No one's theoretically going to see it but me. Just do that. And now let's trim down our waistband here. I find that it's up to you if you want to trim this top edge. So when this turns down like this and when this turns up like this, it does fill the waistband. So I'm of two minds. Bye, Louise. Sleep well. So I think I've trimmed my waistband, so don't forget that part. So I've trimmed my waistband in height, so it's a little narrower than the Ginger jeans. But it is kind of I've got the happy coincidence that now my seam allowance would fill it up. My problem with this is the denim is going to wear in a little edge right there. And I also don't want my waistband to fold like this, like create an edge that might fold there. Sometimes I feel like just kind of not giving it that opportunity. So there's all kinds of things you can be thinking about, advantages and disadvantages here, and then just experimenting with them, you know. So yeah, it's like trade-offs. So I'm gonna trim it down, and I'll end up probably trimming my waistband. Or my waist seam. I can't remember if I do that or not. I'm not an expert in making jeans. I've just made quite a few pairs. There's probably some really great tactics out there in making denim. We aren't denim manufacturers, so we can do whatever we want. We also don't have the specialized equipment they have. And don't think that every decision they make is for the best pair of jeans. Sometimes it's for economy of steps, fabric, people. There's a lot of reasons. So you can do whatever you want. And you might like two different ways, and you can't have it both ways, and that's okay. You're just going to have different pairs different ways. All right, so I'm going to turn my waistband. Let's look at it right now, first of all, like this. Let's see. Right now, it looks like it's the same height going across. So let's look at our waist seam here. When it's zipped up, you see right here, the denim, this side looks a little dipped lower than here. So let's make sure that this is nice and even. So I'm gonna now put my zipper head below the waist seam. And I'm gonna start trimming this up. So let's make sure, we have this nice look here. I'll lighten this up a little bit for you. Maybe I can zoom it in if you like to. Oof, that's bright. Everybody in dark mode's like, no! All right, so we're not going by where this is. We're going by where our denim is. That's more important because it's the shallowest, shortest seam. So we're going to just trim this, make this all even. Remember, you need to pull down your zipper head below the zipper. Otherwise, you're going to cut it off on the wrong side. So pick between your teeth. Like that. I'm just going to kind of hack it right now, and then we'll do it better in a second. Let's get our zipper head way down there. And look at this. Look at this whole edge. Now, look ahead, too. You see right here, it's a little mismatched right there, which means I need to go down to here. So make sure that you're looking ahead here, that you're going to have to kind of even out. Now, we have a lot of seam allowances, 5/8 inch seam. We can kind of accommodate that little discrepancy there and not trim it if we don't want to. But it's just something to look ahead, you know? All right, so let's trim this. And now we're going to trim this here. The denim's really bouncy, like really makes it hard to trim. All right, so now one thing I can do is, instead of just trimming this down to where I get all these edges lined up, is make sure that I maybe draw a line on here so that it's just the same across. That way I don't have to lose it and start dipping down or making it asymmetrical or anything, you know. This right here is not very smooth, so let's trim this a little bit. You can see it pushing it out of my scissors, though. It's really hard to cut a straight line. My scissors need sharpening, apparently. All right. Let's look at these. Really tempted to pull up your zipper fly to see if it's all straight. Don't do that. My zipper shield right now is taller, so let's kind of trim that down a little bit. That nice and even there, straight across. I like to do one tooth at a time, just so I make sure I don't accidentally trim more than I need to. But remember, you have a pretty generous seam allowance. All right, and remember that is your center front right there, so it will line up like that. But the zipper will show you that, so it's not a big deal. I'm so thirsty today, sorry guys. We've done pretty good. 2 hours right now, and we're almost done. If you're doing jeans, you could do jeans in a couple hours. When I'm not streaming, I can do jeans in a couple hours. All right, so let's turn our waistband to the right side. Let's start with my corners. Put my corner out and just see how it looks. Feels kind of bumpy, so I'll just kind of see if I could straighten out, flatten out some of those edges in there. See this one here. Like that. Looks pretty good. These little lines make me think like it's uneven, but it's fine. All right, so I always start with the lining side first. So let's find the center back seam. Put it right side to the inside of the jeans. My tag is there. I'm ready. I have to put my tag on early because I do the inside first. Oh, so I want this seam actually to line up to the seam, not the center of my tag. Now I'm using two different fabrics that are quite drastically different from one another in my oof, I hope I allowed for this zip extension. Did I? Yes. Whew. I get so nervous sometimes. I don't remember what I was saying, but just, you know, remember that, oh, I know, but both your fabrics are different from each other, and you may have to kind of ooch one more than the other. That's okay. I'm using a quilting cotton versus a stretch denim. I'm going to put this. This is not a side seam of, this is just where I piece the fabric together. So we're just kind of getting it on here. Now it looks like you don't want the skirt, because it's so stretchy, you don't want to let it dictate how big it needs to be. You know, like, use your waistband. This is why I don't like using stretch on the waistband always. I like it to be a little bit more stable and fixed. And I'll often put the non-stretchy interfacing in, or cut across the length grain like I did here. I cut the denim at a length grain because along the length grain, so that there would be less stretch. But there's a lot of folks who really like their waistbands to be on the bias or as stretchy as possible. So it just depends on what you like. So just remember that. There's lots of options. I don't like my pants bagging out over the course of the day, but at the same time, it does mean that they're a little tighter in the mornings. I also wear mine a few days in a row. So, all right, so I'm lining up my lining with the edge there. And I often go like this. I open this up like this, and I line it up like that. I line it up where I can see the stitching and that edge right there, like that. I like it to be a right angle. I want it to be lined up all the way down at the seam line right down there, not at the edge right there, but down at the seam line where you're going to sew it. All right, let me just kind of get this in here. I'm pinning it for sure today. I didn't do a stay stitch along the waist, and I think that would have been actually a really good idea, even if it would have popped later on. I don't think it would have, because the waistband's going to keep it nice and in check. All right, so now we have our inside of our waistband pinned to the inside of the skirt, and then we'll do the last stitch in a second. All right, so here we go. Now remember, this is where I'm talking about how there's a lot of things going on at the center front waist that I want you to think about. Don't just sew over your brass teeth. You really have to be careful going around those brass teeth. I walk my machine one stitch at a time and kind of ooch my needle around it. You also need to think about your seam allowance on this waistband, because you want it to be consistent from the right and the left side, so that your waistband seam lines up when it's straight across from each other. And this is one of my weak areas. I always forget to do this. I get so worried about other things. So don't be me. So look at that down there, and you go over the zipper teeth in like an inch. So you have some time to kind of get this on track before you are dealing with your zipper teeth. And now this will also secure our zipper pull, so we don't have to worry that we're going to lose the zipper pull. All right, so I'm right here's where I'm feeling where the teeth are. I'm just going to walk my machine, and I'm already past it, so I really lucked out that time. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'll feel my needle hit a tooth, and you just have to gauge then if you actually need to change your needle right away, or you can get through your waistband. There's times where I've had to change my needle right away. It'll just be a problem for you later on. Make sure all your threads are in the waistband. It'll look nicer. I feel like the other side, my waistband was a little smaller than this side, so I might let some of this fabric kind of go towards that side. This is poking me, so I'm kind of fussing with it. I'm going to go back a little because I feel like I got my seam allowance off right here. Another thing to think about is if you had belt loops planned, sometimes sewing them into the seam is kind of handy. You don't have to do that yet if you're just sewing your waistband the way I do from the inside of the garment. You have time to place those when we go to the front side. So it's not too late, in other words. I always forget the carriers until then. You guys know. Here's my little top stitch thread being sucked into that seam. How are you guys doing? Am I overwhelming you with information? We're almost done. Very exciting. I realized earlier today that I will have sewn a whole outfit this week. I will have the Sunday V-neck to go with my new jean skirt. Plus I have the scouts that I've been making. All right, so it's like thick right here, and it's because of my label, and I was just double checking it because it feels like it's crooked. It's a little crooked. I want my pin cushion right there. That's where I want it. The reason I start my waistband from the inside too is that it kind of takes out the question of getting the last stitch, the last top stitch, where you would normally secure it. You don't have to worry if you're going to catch the other side of the waistband. This kind of takes that out of there, that equation. This is actually how a lot of commercial jeans are made. They're just made on a machine that does all of it for them, you know. Hey, Barbara, how's it going? Yeah, I can't wait either. This is why I don't put my pin cushion there. I'm pretty eager about it. You can definitely see my curves in it, which is kind of fun. All right, so I'm getting to the center front. Remember, you're like really excited right now. You're on the home stretch, but remember you have those brass teeth. You need to make sure that you don't hit one of those. And also remember you need to make sure you're doing the same seam allowance as the other side. One of the ways you can do right now to check is you can kind of start looking at it, you know. But we'll look at it once I sew it and we'll adjust it right away. Did I just run out of bobbin thread? Okay, here's my brass teeth. I'm kind of walking around. There we go. Take this pin out. Why didn't I pin it the other direction? I don't want this to fall off the edge there. I don't want my waistband to go past that center front edge there. All right, so now let's look at how it's lining up right now. This looks a little lower. I feel like it's the thickness. I can't really see. You see it's pulling right there. It's my waistband there. So the one of the good things about the way I do this, because I'm doing it on the from the inside to the outside, is some of these waistline discrepancies, like this line right here going across, can be solved with when you turn this under. You can make this a little lower, and then as long as it works in your favor to do that. You just got to make sure you're not making your waistband wider on one side, because then you have another issue, right? All right, I'm going to press this with the iron, give myself a little bit of help. Probably going to have to wait for it to warm up. How are you doing, Barbara? My seams are a little off from one another. How did I not notice that? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my iron was so off kilter. I was using it to iron something specific that I wanted to iron with my right hand. You guys could have told me. Okay. I think this fabric is really good for a jean skirt or jeans in the inside. It's cute. I'm pretty good at using all my scraps, aren't I? You probably see recurring fabrics all the time from me. Alright, so now I'm gonna kind of press this. Oh, I need to still do my my little bar tack, fake bar tack there. But when we have the top stitch thread on again, we'll try and remember. So I just kind of pressed it open, and now I'm pressing it on the fold. It helps it stay on the fold right here if I press it open first. All right. These went really smooth. I have a bit of top stitching to take out if I have to do any fit changes. But I'm pretty confident since I used my jean pattern. So Barbara, we've been talking about what we want to do for Me Made May. So if you have any ideas, so far we've been talking about, there's a lot of patterns people want, but I don't think I don't really have the time to, there's not probably enough time for me to order certain things, but there's a couple patterns I want to do really bad. I'm not sure everyone's into them, but we were also thinking about doing the FFO, finally finished objects. So it's like all your works in progress. All right, how's this look, you guys? This looks pretty good. I think I did it. Crazy. All right, let's see if I can get this to press more to the inside, the waistband, so I see a little bit of that blue. Maybe a little less of the blue there. I started seeing some of it, especially right here. Nice. I'm glad to hear you're well. Yeah, I know, right, Eva? It's pretty satisfying. I mean, I think, it seems like when you have garment fabrics, you're like, dang, I bought too much. I have all this good garment fabric sitting around. I feel that way. And then I'm like, oh, I ended up finding a use for this, you know? It's nice to have it around. All right, so I always kind of make sure it's nice and flat. And one way to kind of ensure that is I will actually put pins down the middle so that I know I don't get the waistband sliding like this and torquing. We just have our top stitch on the waistband and the hem left. Pretty good. Because I'm not doing belt loops. Now would be the time you would place all your belt loops. Oh, nice, Beverly. Oh, Sydney, you're working. It's okay. Do you have the closed captions on? Yeah, that Walter turned us onto that phrase, FFO, finally finished object. I like that. I kind of want to do that for a week. Yeah, the procrastination buster, exactly. And Bragas, yeah, okay. I like thinking about that, far in the future, because maybe we can start gathering things for it, and I might even practice certain things to see, especially my machines, make sure that what I want to do is going to work. So when I do this, I feel like I don't brag because I know how much sewing I still need to learn and how good how much better I want to be as a sewist. But one thing I feel like time sewing, making mistakes, having successes, handling fabric, one benefit to that and all the time that you spend doing it is you get better and better at handling the fabric and letting it do what it wants to do, but still getting it to do what you want it to do, right? So I feel like before, when I would sew waistbands, especially when I was kind of a novice at it, what I would tend to do is just turn it under at the seam allowance and then stitch it down. But sometimes that's not what you need to do. You need to kind of pay attention. Where does it want to be and where do you want it to be, right? So I want it to cover that seam I just sewed. So I kind of need to do it a little less seam allowance than I sewed the first pass at. And that way I ensure that I'm not pulling it along the top like this or less. You want this all to be flat, right? You don't want to do this like too shallow like this, and then you have a baggy waistband. You know, it's flat on this side and baggy up here. So make sure that you're just kind of looking in sections. Smooth this all out, flatten it all out, and then fold it. And it'll be easier for you because you're not trying to not block a camera with your head right now. You know, like right now I can't see the seam. I'm doing this blindly. And I try and make sure this little fold is just at that seam I just sewed and covering it up. We're going to stitch this down with contrast thread. And in some ways that kind of helps because it diverts the eye from any little weird fold things. You don't have to do contrast thread here if you don't want, if your waistband's not going to show or you just don't care about that look. Just up to you. So, you know, if you had found that when you cut your waistbands out, they stayed pretty accurate all the way through the sewing process and all your notches were still lining up, you could count on the notch. If you're doing this way from the inside to the outside or the outside to the inside, if you're finding that notch is still lined up, that's awesome, right? It kind of gives you that little bit of victory and a little cue that you're on the right track. I don't have notches on mine. I don't know why. I feel like I notched it. I don't remember now, but I don't see any. I saw the center back notch. Oh no, there wasn't even a center back notch because I had a seam. But I think like, I feel like nowadays, my sewing, I hate to say this, but I feel like 75% of my sewing success when I have it is due to the fact that I let the fabric do what it wants to do by still getting it to do what I want it to do. So I'm a lot gentler, and I talk frequently in certain sewing videos about how I'm a puller when I sew things. My hands are really strong. It's a funny thing about me. It's from all the years of sewing, all the things I've done. My hands are actually really strong, just like what I can do with them. And they hurt too. But I tend to pull things, and I'm really firm. I'm really hard on things. And so this is something that letting the fabric kind of tell me what it wants to do is really good for someone like me. It helps me not try and beat it into the submission I think it needs to be in when it's already doing 3/4 of the work. I just need to get it where I want it to. Right, so I'm going to turn this over now. Oh, I didn't do this side. Let's do this side first. I always start kind of at a side seam or the center back and go towards the front. Those areas are less tricky, and it helps me get my kind of pinning legs under me as I'm doing this, so that when I get to the trickier area over here, I feel a little bit like, okay, I know the rest of the waistband is okay, so don't second guess that. And we're really trying to prevent any torquing. That's why we have the pins down the middle too. And this goes for any waistband, men, women, children, whatever you're sewing, jean skirts, pants, anything. Even a collar stand. This is kind of the exact same principles. We're doing collars and collar stands. You just want to start from the center and work out and let the fabric kind of tell you what it wants to do. And so when I get to the center front there, I'm going to make sure that the waistband's the same width left to right. and also the waist seam lines up. So there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of pressure. But now's the time to check it before you stitch it down, because we can fix it now. All right, so now we're gonna see. Pins kind of distort it, so take that into consideration. So I didn't even pin that side because I know. Let's see how it looks. I always get that little wing ding. Remember, I've told you that. I always get this little, don't I? Yeah, it would look cute with the Archer. I won't be wearing an Archer for months now. It's already so warm. But it's going to look cute with my Scout tees, I think, you know? All right, I feel like this side looks really good. And it's the side that's on top. So if I can, I'd like to maintain this. This is the side I would probably adjust if I need to. This always happens to me. You see this little wing ding right there? So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because it was kind of dipping below. And let's see if that lines it up. Okay, I need to lift it up and look at it straight on. It's a little lower. So maybe what I could do, fold this up a tiny bit. I can't go above the seam, but I can just make sure I'm not dipping below the seam. Right there. Oof, poke myself. It's kind of thick right here because remember we have the pocket stay. The brass zipper is kind of chunky and stiff. I'm going to do a tack button. I got my rivets and tack button out today, so we might be able to put that on. This is lower, isn't it? So it looks okay from certain angles, and then certain angles it doesn't. This one's lower. I can lower this one because it's underneath. Like that. As long as my waistband doesn't look too wide. Okay, except for my little like wing ding right here. Why do I always get that? Hello, Dolly, how's it going? Oh, Catherine. Thank you. Thanks for pledging on Patreon. I finally got that to work. I'm so glad. Hi, Dolly. Welcome. I'm in California, but there's people here from all over. All right, so we're kind of at the home stretch of this. I'm trying to decide, once I stitch this down, right there, no, I think I actually need to fix that right there. So I'm going to take this out a little bit. I think this is fine. It's just right here. I'm going to fix this right here. And make sure that lines up a little better. So I always get this little, what I like to call a wing ding. Oh, I'm so glad, Dolly. Am I saying your name right? Dolly or Dolly? Welcome. Everyone here is really nice. They're really quiet today. I don't know why. I think I'm giving them too much information. So one of the reasons I get this is because of the stretch denim. So if you got this too, no matter how careful you are, it could just be that because, you know, the stretch is kind of, you know, it's like stretching out right there, you know. So I sometimes will overcompensate so that doesn't happen. All right, so let's see. I'm going to fold this down and kind of go up a little bit and down a little right about here. So we'll see if I can blend this in nice enough. I think that this is a good lesson. I always think maybe I should just do this from the get-go. Make this side a little shallower because if anything, that looks really bad. If anything, it's underneath the other side. So it's okay. You know, it'll be hidden anyway. I'm going to reinforce it since I trimmed part of that back stitch off. Let's see, before I sew any more, let's turn that right side out. Okay. My point doesn't look as good this time. Sometimes when I can't get that point very nicely, I start over, you know? Like this. Yeah, that looks better. That looks way better. Okay. Ah, awesome, Patty. Okay, good. Usually that's the case. You guys are all quiet because you're either like, ah, I've seen this before, or you're paying attention. No pressure. So you see this little bump you kind of get inside here from this little fold down? I just straighten this all out like this. Fold it down in there, push it all in there, and then I fold it over the center front there. That's one of those cases where I'm kind of letting the fabric and putting it where it wants to be. And then it also helps me out. All right, so now let's see how I did here. Let's see if I kind of curved that little problem I had. It's nice. I feel like we did really good on time today. I could really talk about doing this. Okay. I feel like that got rid of the wingding. I can still see my waistband a little bit higher there. But I wonder if that's really the case. Yeah, never know. Yeah, see, it is a little bit higher still. This side right here. Maybe I will trim this a little bit more just along this edge. Why not? Let's just go for, I never say perfect, but you know what I mean. Yeah, exactly, Barbara. It looks more square. I totally agree. It looked more square to me too. And that was that my starting edge when I sewed the waistband together? So maybe it's a quirk of how I start sewing. Maybe what it is, I know what it is. It's because when I start the waistband, when I'm sewing it, say the waistband's not attached to the skirt right now, it's right sides together, and I'm just sewing that first seam. I'm going up the short end, along the top edge, and then down. It's because I sew the short end like this. Remember, the stretch of my denim is this way on the waistband. It makes this push that way, and it stretches it out. That's what it is. Cool. Now we know. I like logic. All right, so I'm just trimming along this top edge. I'm going to do a little bit more at the center front because I kind of got pushed away. It's okay if I'm a little shyer than the other waistband because it's going to be below it. It's going to be under it. Not below it, but under it. All right, here's another. Okay, maybe I should just trim it. I don't want to trim this corner anymore, you know? I always have better luck when I put my finger in here like this. I push the seam down like this, put my thumbnail in there, and then I push it out like this. I always get a better point. You too need a thumbnail like mine. All right, so here we go. I'll leave it at this. I'm not going to fuss with it anymore. If it's not perfect, I'm fine with where it's at. Let's finish it. I'm excited about finishing. You know what's funny, you guys? Remember on Saturday when I was like kind of agonizing over that center back seam and the curviness of it, and you know, taking out the rise and making it into the skirt. And I kind of started second guessing. I'm like, wait a minute, I've done this right. Why didn't I put it on the dress form, you guys? I could have just put the pattern pieces and even the cut pieces on the dress form. I mean, it literally was like right there, and it's custom, you know? All right. Let's see how I did. You got to kind of shake it out. Make sure that it's sitting the way it actually is going to sit. Because remember, usually your front dips down like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's going to work just fine. Okay, so now we're ready to stitch it down. Kind of want to switch to a cream bobbin, but I don't want, well actually, let's try it. I'm going to switch to a cream bobbin and see if my stitches show on the outside. And we're going to switch to our top stitch thread right here. And then we can also do our hem and the bar tack. But I'll switch my bobbin thread back to blue before I do those two things. So don't let me forget. I don't know, Walter. To get the skirt on the form, I don't know if I can get it over the shoulders. You know what I mean? Because I don't have a collapsible form. I'm not sure. I'll definitely, oh, I didn't wear a shirt today. Shoot. I'm definitely going to try it on and take a picture, and just love taking pictures of myself wearing my clothes. Sarcasm for sure. What's going on there? All right, so let's see. I have a pretty thick thing right here. All right, so I have cream thread in, and you can't see my bobbin, so that's great. I'm gonna do that so that I have cream on the waistband instead of the blue. Yeah, you know what I mean, Walter? Yeah, so I can't slip it this way. I'm not sure I can go over the top. I need to start learning those limitations, though, so I know when I can just go and do that. So when I do a waistband top stitching, the last thing, I usually start at the center back, or just like maybe to the side of the center back. If you're going to cover it up with like a belt loop. So now's the time. So make sure all your belt loops are in. I was about to tell you earlier where to put them. You need one at your center back. And then there's usually a notch on your pattern about right here, right in front of this pocket, it's about 1.5 inches in front of this pocket. And then there's usually one at the side seam or just behind the side seam, depending on where you like it. So there's usually 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever you put it here, and then 5 at the center front. So your belt loops are hanging down towards the skirt right now. They're in the seam, and you're gonna attach them right now, or maybe you already tacked them in there, and then you can. Oi! Please don't fall on the floor. I couldn't move the thread. And then when we go along the top, you can either, if it works, you can pull the carrier up to the top, turn it under, and top stitch it at the same time. Most likely it's not going to work to do that because you won't have secured all of it quite yet. So, yeah. So, here we go. I'm going to start just to, actually I'm going to start at the center back since I don't have a belt loop to cover it up. Make sure the other side isn't showing. I'm not going to back stitch quite yet. So This might be a little easier if I turn my skirt inside out since I don't have a free arm. And you can stitch along this edge and just make sure that you're feeling underneath that this is nice and flat under here. You're not getting any torquing or buckling with your waistband. I just kind of smooth it out like this. I'm doing this. Make sure this little folded edge goes just past that seam. You're covering it up right now. It's really easy for me to hide things, especially from you guys with dark denim. But it's really easy to hide your mistakes with dark denim than it is with something maybe a lighter color. Like what if you're doing like a turquoise pair of jeans or something. I'm getting a little torquing. I can see it happening. So we're going to kind of pull out some of these pins and kind of get it nice and smooth. Sometimes holding the back and giving yourself pressure makes it so it stops torquing. There's far too much stuff over here. Let's just turn this inside out like this. It'll be a lot easier. There we go. It'll stay a lot flatter now. So you're not really worried about where this stitching, your bobbin stitching, is landing on the other side. Mainly because, I mean, yeah, if you were sewing and selling these, you might. But you're not worried about it from the point of securing your waistband. You've already put the inside lining in a seam. It's already secured. So whether your stitch is landing above the seam or below the seam isn't quite as critical. It's nice that it lands right on the waistband, right? But we're taking the worry out of that happening by sewing it like this. And the more often you do this, the better you get. And you'll just land on the waistband. Now, because I'm kind of exaggerating this little folded edge down below it, there's a chance I'm probably falling off of it, or like I'm right in the ditch of it. I'm going to use a tack button, Sandy. I don't have any snaps on me. Do you need a snap tutorial? Okay, this feels kind of thick, but it's just the seams of the fly shield. So I'm just double checking I didn't have something folded under there. So now we're getting to our brass zipper here. So just be really careful. Walk your machine. Always walk your hand wheel toward you. Like this. Right? Toward you. Don't ever go the other way. It's not the end of the world. It's just your machine wants to go the other way. You need to... Oh my gosh, I'm like on this edge so close right now because I kind of let it get away from me there. All right, so I'm going to turn... The reason I like to start my stitching at the center back, I got it kind of away from me here. Let me get that point better. I'm gonna kind of hold this point with my left hand. Eek! I like to start at the center back because I don't like starting right here at the center front. There's too much to worry about. And backstitching right there where all of this is happening, it just leads to more issues than anything else. And say you have to take out that backstitch, you have the, oh God, that looks pretty bad there. You have the risk of hurting your fabric because stretch denim especially doesn't really like being seam ripped very much. And if you're going over thicknesses and things like that, sometimes your machine won't behave very well when you go to backstitch there. So remember, yeah, your belt loops now are secure over here. You could pull them up here, tuck them under, and go over it. You're going to need to go back and bar tack it, or at least backstitch a few times right now. That's what I do. I don't bar tack. I feel like this is a little wiggly. I shouldn't have done the hand wheel demo right there because I totally got crooked. That is the side that's underneath the other side, thank goodness. You need a tack tutorial? I'll do one at the end. Stick around. I've done it a few times in other jeans, I think. Just look for a video with the hammer on the cover. This is such a pain that all of my skirt is under the machine head. Boy. Can you even see what I'm doing? It's so bright over here. I need to put something dark over there. What can I put there for you? I'm just going to put this over here so the camera kind of calms down a little bit. It helps. Remember, you're still worried about torquing. Doing the top stitching all at once this is the drawback, is that part of the garment is under the machine head like this, and you're getting poked with pins. All right, we're coming to the waistband, and remember your brass zipper's in there, but you're not going to touch it until you get to the seam, the waist seam. All right, so let's try and do a nice job of turning this corner, unlike my last one, because this is the one that shows it's on top. Oh, see, it really wants to push it off the edge because it's kind of thick right here. I'm just going to do one stitch at a time. Turn. The zipper is about halfway in this zipper fly shield right here. Okay. Do something to remind yourself. Don't forget this. It really is kind of a startling occurrence when you break your needle on a brass zipper. I really got lucky today going past. Okay, there's my zipper right there. So I'm just going to go straight a little bit further. One stitch will be a little longer. You can hurt your fabric, you can hurt your machine, and you can hurt you. So just be really careful about that brass zipper. You don't use coiled chains for zippers for like your jean fly because it wouldn't stay zipped. So don't forget that. You need to have a zipper that locks when it's zipped up. Okay? Oh, that's cool, Barbara. Well, I'm still getting good at that. Oh, you know, Walter, someone else has asked that. Where did we do that, you guys? What pattern was that? I don't fancy myself an expert at that, Walter, but boy, I love plaid. Here we are at the beginning. This denim has got a really nice texture. Let's see how I did. That one side looked pretty wobbly. Look, my camera, yeah, it's right in front of my face. The struggles with cameras, you guys. This one's just in a weird spot today. You know what's really weird about these cameras, you guys? Is say, you know, they're webcams. You guys have all seen a webcam, right? So say I point it straight at me. It won't be straight at me. It's the weirdest thing. The camera lens inside is tilted on all of them. So I have to angle them. It's the weirdest thing. I don't get it. All right, so let's see. Oh yeah, that's not so good right there. Remember I had trouble going down that thickness? You feel that there's a pretty sizable thickness in there. I probably should have trimmed it. This looks better than I thought, but that's a little bit wonky. I wonder if I can kind of get this to look a little bit more normal, just with a little bit of wear and tear. Because I don't like back stitches there because they kind of call your eye to it. The tack button's going to go there, so that's good. We still need our tack here and our fly shield to be tacked over there. Well, that's the same thing. So, oh, we need this one. That's right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'll think about that. I might take this out. If I take any of this out, this one I won't. I'm gonna leave that weirdness. Only you and I know about that. Oh, no, on the inside, let's see how I did. Oh, I didn't do my bobbins. Didn't I do my bobbin? Dang. When I changed to cream. That's not bad. You can't really see it, but it's right on there on the edge. It's in the ditch right here, a little bit below right there. Not bad. I'll take it. It's nice and flat on the inside. So if I decide to fix this right here, I might even like start and stop way over here. Or like right here. I don't know. You don't do it on a corner. So it's a little funny. No, not bad. Okay. Let me switch the bobbin. We'll sew our hem. And do some rivets and buttons. I can't do the buttonhole. I have to do that at home because my machine's there. My home machine's at home for once, which is kind of fun. All right, so we need that on there. Okay, so we're just gonna do our back tack on here. So zip up your zipper. Oof, these things are so stiff at first. You want to go through all the layers because you're trying to tack down this fly shield right there. It's just one of the ways in which you secure it and prevents it from flapping around right there. So if you need to pin it, go for it, just so it doesn't like fold back on itself or go to a different spot that you aren't wanting. I'll do a fake back tack right there through all those thicknesses. I kind of like the way my fake back tacks look, I'm not gonna lie. But there's some really cool ones out there. So see, now it is secured right there. And I'm not a big fan of this. Like, this is something, it's, you know, indicative of doing the jean skirt rather than the pants. I could probably, you know, actually, oh, that's why, because I'm about to do this other bar tack. It'll tack it down. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do one right across here. Let's see, will that get that? Maybe I'll do one lower. Yeah. Okay. There. I think this is, I'm doing this in a different spot, aren't I? Wait, where do they usually do this on this one? I'm close, but I think they go up higher. What do they do? Anyway, there we go. Now it's secure. That was it. It solved itself. I forgot that's what happens. Awesome. All right, so let's trim all these threads so we never have to look at it again. Let's do our hem, which I think is a little bit uneven right now. See that right there? I'm just going to cut it straight off. Remember how carefully I matched my side seams? This would be way better and more accurate on a table with a rotary knife. And I know that. Thankfully, I'm not getting as many YouTube comments when people give me their 2 cents like that. It's right? Oh, Glenn, thank you. I didn't do too bad then. Just trying to get those even across from one another. This is when you're doing stuff at your machine that you would normally do at a pattern table. And cutting stretch denim is so funky. It just wants to push out of your scissors, you know? All right. Let's do our hem. which is always tricky since I have to do it from the right side, since I don't have a bobbin with the same color. I do not like this. It would be probably better if I serged this edge and then I just folded it up and did it. In fact, maybe I will do that. You guys mind if I serge? About the bottom of the fly curve? Yeah, like I think like I'm picturing something in my head and I know, where is it? Oh, so they just do a back tack. Boy. See that? There and there. Where is it that I saw that it comes up and goes over? Is that the Ash jeans? I really liked that style. It was pretty cool. Pretty sure it's the Ash jeans that do that. Maybe it was the Jutlands. I'm going to serge this, so it's going to get a little bit loud. I might be able to put the camera on there. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if I can... Oof. It's a little bit far. But I can move my serger over. Barely, though. I need to unplug it for a second. Oops. There we go. I just knocked everything off that shelf because the cord was on it. It barely fits my, the length of my presser foot. I mean, my what you call it? Foot pedal. I always call the foot pedal the presser foot. Serge away. They are expensive. I say get a basic 4-thread serger. It's pretty much you'll get a ton of use out of it. You don't need one like mine. But I don't actually think you really absolutely have to have a serger. That's why mostly what I sew, I don't use it. It's a really awkward angle. Not trimming anything off. Except to even up my weird little edge that I just cut. I could have just trimmed that, what I just did with the scissors with the serger, which would have been a night. Terry, we're almost done. I'm just doing the hem. What happened here? Well, that needs to go there, so we'll fold it up like this. We finished, Terry. I'm just doing the last bit, and I decided to serge it so that I don't have to try and roll hem blindly from the right side. Yeah, right, Eva? That's what I think, too. I think, like, getting the basic one is totally enough. And if you really fall in love with your serger and get a lot of use out of it, maybe in a few years you upgrade, you know? But I pretty much use what I just did the most. Mainly because I'm streaming and I pre-serge things. But at the same time, like if you wanted to use it for seams, you might find that a little bit lacking in the way it looks sometimes. But it's totally adequate. All right, so right now I'm trying to get this little vent to line up first. It's my biggest concern. I feel like I can't do much more of a hem because it'll look weird with the kick plate. It's not a kick plate. But you know what I mean. I'm gonna pin this. I said that kind of like, really? Okay. I can do this one a little bit more so that I make sure that it is underneath. These are the only two spots I really care about that I'm going to pin. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Okay. Let's do this. So the one thing I am thinking about is this little serge edge right here poking out. Now that I have it, I'm going to kind of try and tidy it up, tuck it in there best I can. This feels wrong to me for some reason. Can't quite put my finger on it. What is it? Why does this feel weird? I'm just going to try and keep a nice parallel hem. And yeah, I'm not pinning it first. It's, I just kind of go from one anchor point to the next. So now I'm going to turn this under about the same amount. As I get close to the next side seam, that's when I kind of get that anchor point going. Again, I'm just letting the fabric do what it wants to do by keeping it relaxed, but then I also try and get it where I want. So I'm like, okay, it'd be really nice if you were right here. How can we make this happen? You know? Bye, Sandy. Nice to see you. Yeah, I changed the bobbin thread, Walter. I did it from when I did the bar tacks. Yeah, I'm sewing with the, you think that's what it is, Barbara? You know what it is? I haven't done a hem that I do like this with the serging in a really long time. Maybe that's what it is. Have a nice time, Sandy. I wanted to say night, but I don't know if it's night where you are. All right, so tomorrow we'll do the Sunday V-neck. We're gonna cut that out. That won't take long, you guys. So then I'm gonna make you talk about Me Made May a little bit. So make sure you are prepared for that. Did I catch that? Oh, barely. All right, so now I'm here at the beginning. I'm gonna try and see if I'm lining up before I get there. Why not, right? All right. Threads and all. So let's put a couple rivets on real quick and then I'm gonna go eat lunch. Homework, yeah. I mean, you know, I feel like we kind of know what we want for Me Made May, but I'd like to come up with a schedule. This is what I'm thinking. The FFO, the finally finished objects, the mending. I also think, like, I want to encourage you guys to make something you've always wanted to make. You know what I mean? Like, you've been thinking about it, that little thing's calling to you. Maybe you're nervous, or maybe you just really want it and you feel guilty that you know it's not practical right now. I'm not talking about like the sew frosting thing that people do. I'm just talking about that thing. Like for me, you know, it's my birthday month, so I want you guys to share in that. And I want to either make the Myosotis or the Kalispell or both, you know. I don't know if I'll get to both. Supposedly, I'm moving in a month. So, and I'm releasing a pattern soon. That, and I kind of like the idea of finding more free patterns to do together. I'm trying to figure out what do I want to encourage about Me Made May, and really it's just I want you guys to feel confident to do what you want to do, you know. I need some, where's my Well, this will work. Oh, I forgot my hammer. Just a second. My hammer. I have my other one at home. I usually use a little iron to hammer these in. Okay, so I picked these. Oh, I need the clippers too. Shoot, sorry guys. I always put these in these little hand-painted bowls I have from Migration Dry Goods. She made one for my black cat and one for my white cat. They're so cute. Her little things, she's just so cute. All of her stuff's amazing. I think I'll do 4 rivets. Do I dare put in the tack button without the buttonhole? I will for Angela. The little post that goes on the tack button has the ridges. Oof, that's a bright. These are smooth for the rivets. Can you even see that? This is smooth rivet. The little like ridges there that it looks like it's threaded. That's for the tack button. This guy here. All right, I need the cutter tool. Just a second. Sorry. Oh, no, that's not it. Where is it? And I brought my little pad. This is just a bunch of layers of stiffener I have. Getting our tack on. Live dangerously, yeah. Okay. I wish it wasn't so bright though. I'm just gonna try and tone it down a wee bit. Sewing denim, man, the struggle. So I find that I need my awl or something to poke a hole. I need snips. This is only if you're doing rivets, not for the tack button. You need the awl for either one. I will admit I hardly use this anvil. This came in one of my needle sharp boxes. It's super cool, really cute. But I don't find it necessary. So the only reason I use this is to protect my sewing machine because I'm on camera. Otherwise, I would just do it on my table over there and it wouldn't be a big deal. It's just one of those things. So first thing you're going to do is figure out where you want your rivets. And there is like so many places you can put them and not put them. Typically you see them in these high stress points, like right here at the base of your pocket. So I'm going to kind of gauge where I think that rivet will finish up. So, because you know the center of the rivet right there, that's where the hole would go. Not all the way up against the seam right there, right? I know, isn't that cute? I didn't even know I was getting this when I did the needle sharp box. I was like, ooh, this is so fun. So I kind of look at where that's at. And then I poke my hole here. I poke a pretty good hole. And then I also go from the back side because that's the side that this tack, the post is going to come from. All right, so now I got that there. Now the other thing I'm going to do first, this is the only scary part about rivets, is you have to decide how much to trim off of this post right here. And you have to, most likely, because none of us are making anything that could fit through our sewing machine that would be as thick as using up all of the space between these two, okay? So this thickness right here, so what I can do is poke the post through there. I've had really good runs of doing these, and then I've definitely had a few where I'm like, yeah, that could look better, you know? So now I look at this post in here, and I put my rivet next to it, and I see about how much of that tip is above the rivet. And that's what I'm going to trim off. Make sure you have safety goggles on, or you close your eyes or cover over it, because this little thing, ouch, it goes flying. Like it just went right into my hand, this little piece of metal. So there we go. Yeah, and it is just a blunt thing right there. So you put your rivet on there, and then you're going to turn it over and do it from the wrong side. Just make sure everything is nice and flat. Make sure everything is nice and flat, like this. Let's get rid of some of these threads while we're here. And then just tap. You need to whack it pretty good. There you go. You got your rivet. Some rivets, they fold down better than others. This one has quite a bit sticking out. I'm going to tap it some more. I might ruin it. I'm just going to do an experiment just for you guys. I feel like it needs more surface. I mean, more hard surface. Oh, see now look, I went all the way through. That's the common issue you get if you don't cut enough post off. But if I had cut enough post off, my rivet would be nice and flush. So I'm going to take this off camera so I don't hurt myself or anything like that. But I'm just going to cut that off and I'll do it again. So let's just do another one. So I'm going to do the outside of my pocket here. Right here. So now we kind of know how much we should trim off of the post. This is kind of going right through my drill hole. Okay, so let's push that denim way down in there. Trim off that post. Put the rivet on there. Try and get it on like evenly straight, you know? Like don't do this. Like that. It kind of stays on there too. It's not too bad. Mainly probably because you have a rough edge that you just trimmed off and kind of holds the rivet on there. Tack button isn't as, it's a little squirrelier, but the tack button you don't have to trim anything and it's almost 100% success. The only time I don't have it is if I have a defective tack button. Usually the tack buttons are a lot easier. All right, so let's do this again. I feel like it might be better on that. It would be firmer, but I just don't like doing it up high. We can try it. I don't mind experimenting on my stuff. You need to protect the surface of your rivet with something, though. Don't just do it right on an anvil. This is one of the benefits of the anvil, is it feels high up, but I forget that in a way that benefits it because all of your garment can hang off of it, and you probably keeps it nice and flush a little easier. So I'm going to test. Got a little bit, do a little more. There we go. Cute. Is that where I put that? I put that in the right spot, right? That looks weird. Cover up some of our wonky stitching now too. It's got dual purpose. Okay. Oops, that's my tack button. My tack button post. You really got to get that all whole. You pretty much can't skip this. You need to kind of prime it, you know? It's so thick that asking to just poke it through without that is kind of hard. All right, so let's see. Let's trim off some of it. Push it down in there. You want to see that there's a lot of posts sticking up. I'm going to get it pretty darn close. Where'd it go? I lost that one. Okay, put the rivet on there. I picked this color today. I have actually quite a few different little sets that I've gotten. I picked this color because I had the most of it. Didn't even match my thread. But you can get, you know, thread to match, you know, your rivets and snaps and stuff. There's all kinds of... Oh, here's my quilting cotton. My quilting thread. Yeah, it's a little thinner than that. Yeah, so I have a few different... Well, that's the same color. But they usually come as a set where you can get your, like, tack button to match the thread. Ah, yeah, Terry, that's awesome. That's really cool, yeah. Does that feel a little better when you put those on? That's the kind that you spread apart. I think I did one rivet with you guys once that was a little bit like the side here bent down. But for the most part, these go pretty good. I admit I don't like doing rivets as much as I do the tack button. The tack button, I've done hundreds of those because it was on one of our products. So I feel a little better about that one. I have a friend who has like a kick press. Wait, does she have a kick press or a rivet press? I think she has a rivet press. That's one way to do it. I don't think they're very expensive. Yeah, it feels more secure. Put that on there really good. Ouch! God, that hurts. All it's doing is hitting my hand, but whew. All right, last one. And then we'll do the tack button. Pretty good. That one looks really good. It's nice and flush. All right, so now let's do the tack button. This one, you should do your buttonhole first. I don't mind taking out buttonholes if they're wrong, though. It's a bitch, I know, but I just do it. All right, so I'm going to decide where I want my tack button. And this is something else I'm working better on trying to do correctly, because I do feel like sometimes I'll get it so that like it's just 1/8 of an inch too low, and then this happens when I'm wearing my pants all day, and I hate that, you know. And then guys, it's so thick under there. I think my fabric just got folded back on itself, and that's what happened here. My presser foot came here, it was here, my needle was here. As it sewed, the presser foot got stuck there, and so it couldn't keep going straight. It's like I really want to stick my awl in there and get it nice and flat. So, yeah, so if I look at, like, jean button on pants and things, you know, it's pretty much centered from top to bottom. It's not centered in the middle of your fly. It's usually, you know, right around the edge here. Remember, your tack button is bigger. It's going to be like that. Wouldn't you say? About right there. So it's centered this way, but not this way. And I just feel like they're just all over the place. So this is not the side you put your tack button on, by the way. Stop me now. This is your buttonhole. Wow. Okay. So, but we're going to still look at this and go, okay, this is where I kind of want that buttonhole or button to sit right there. And then transfer it to the underneath. So, show you that again. So this is where I want my button when it's buttoned to be right here. Okay. Center of that is right here. Look underneath and carry it over right there, which is right above our zipper. The seam allowance is kind of pushing up there. I'm at right at the top edge of my seam allowance right here. And this is one of the things I think to think about ahead is remember you have to put your buttonhole in there, and if your buttonhole is going to be butting up like one side against your seam allowance while you're sewing it, you may have a little bit of trickiness sewing in your buttonhole, so just remember that. Did you see that, Glenn? Wouldn't that have been a bummer? No good deed goes unpunished, right? You know, the thing is, you guys, this is how I operate. Like, what is the worst that could have happened? The worst that could have happened is I would have put a tack button on the wrong side of my pants, and I would have ruined them in some people's eyes. But at the same time, like, if I had removed the tack button and then I put my buttonhole on either side of that hole, no one would ever know. Okay, so there's backup plans. Like, think of that. Think of, like, what would I have done if I had done that incorrectly? Worst case scenario, I replace the waistband. Worst case scenario, I don't have the denim to do it. It has a different waistband. You know, like, that's the way I look at it. It's not the end of the world. You just can't prevent yourself from moving forward just because you feel like that one error just alters your, you know, your idea of what you wanted out of the garment. It's, these little things aren't things that people see. If the little tack button hole was in the middle of the buttonhole, it wouldn't have been a big deal. It would have actually been a nice guide. So, all right. So, this is how you do it, Angela. You're going to put your post in there. And I have to admit, I'm kind of butted up against my seam allowance. I'm hoping this doesn't give me some trouble, because what you need to do right now is put your button face down. Just make sure you're protecting the cap. You're going to strike it on the post side, not on the button side. And this is one of the things I find really tricky, is keeping this little post level, right? You don't want this going on. The other thing that potentially is going to happen is that seam allowance is going to cant it a little bit, and I may have a little bit trouble. So just know that if you are finding your seam allowance pretty wide, you might want to trim it, especially at the center front there, just to prevent yourself from having these issues. But I have done a lot of these. I'm just going to try and do it. This is what I learned. Like, Rayanne loved using the hammer when she set tack buttons. I loved using my little antique iron. There was something about that. I could keep it more level, because you don't want to hit it like this. You want to hit it straight up and down. That's the tip I have with doing tack buttons that I've learned over the years, is you kind of want all the thicknesses in there to be the same. You want all the fabric to be stretched out, and you want this little post to start off, it's already getting a little funky, level, right? So the surface of it parallel to the surface of the table. Those ridges are grabbing like this plastic inner. So it does kind of want to start grabbing it before you start striking it. So I would do a few, and you see how it went like this? I don't know if you saw that. Just get it back on track. Get it kind of going, and then whack it. Oh, and see, I did. Mine did get pretty off there. Let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, so that seam allowance is kind of giving me a little trouble. I think I fixed it now. Perfect. Phew. If you get these a little bit off, what'll happen is that your button will come undone while you're wearing it. There we go. There's your tack button. Cool. Yeah, you know what's funny, Glenn, is this morning or last night, I saw Sew Over 50 post something about how one gal has all these little post-it notes and how she reminds herself to how to button a shirt. And I totally remember that. I used to always struggle with that. Like, which way does my button, which side gets the buttonhole, which side gets the button? And, you know, definitely making a few shirts that was the wrong way or the opposite way that you want it to, you know, traditionally. And I finally came up with this weird little saying in my head where I would be like, you know, if your shirt buttons, a woman's shirt, so I'd be talking to myself, your shirt buttons left over right. Wait, right over left, because women are always right. Sorry for the guys out there, but that's just what I told myself in my 20s. Right over left, because women are always right. And that's what I would tell myself, so I would remember right over left, right over left. And so I would remember that side got the buttonholes. So anyway, there you go. I got one funky rivet there. You know, I might even leave it. It's character, right? Because removing these can be kind of tricky. This turned out really cute. Here's the back. Let's just put all this stuff away. I got this hammer at a thrift sale. Like at a garage sale once. Or no, at an antique store. I was like, what's this hammer doing here? It looks good. Okay, complete. Once I iron this and it washes, that little waviness will calm down. It'll be totally fine. Yeah, you're welcome, Angela. Yay, yeah. You can always just use a button. You don't have to do a tack button. No one sees it, right? Unless you're wearing halter tops, crop tops. This looks pretty good. Crooked me. Can't believe I didn't sew a little. How many times have you seen me sew a little on that scrappy piece of black fabric today and I didn't when I changed to cream? I swear I did. I did! Remember, because I looked to see if it was going to work. What is all this? What the heck? There we go. All right, you guys. Well, that was fun. Tomorrow's stream will be a lot shorter because we're just cutting out the Sunday V-neck, which is right here. If you want to see a picture if you came late. This is a unisex, or actually, I don't know why those words just came out of my mouth because I hate the term unisex. It is an all gender pattern. And I have a picture of it on a female, and it's knits. I'm going to be using this machine. And where do you think all the work is on the left? Pockets and buttonholes on the left, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to look at chat, you guys. We'll cut this out of some knit I have, and I will be using my industrial machine to sew it without the serger or zigzag. You don't need to finish knit fabric, so it's just, it looks nicer. It does make it more polished, so I'll be doing that, and we'll be sewing it on Saturday. So I'll see you guys mañana, iguanas. That was really fun. Thanks for the skirt. I needed a new one. And start thinking about some Me Made May. We'll refine our schedule. We'll put some stuff down. Yeah, I really want you guys to get something out of it, but I also want it to be kind of fun. I kind of want it to be a month where we're like, we feel better about sewing, you know? That tee is way too small for that model. Yeah, they actually say that several times, Glenn, that he is wearing a size smaller than he is. The armholes concern me, but I'm going to look at it. Right, Barbara? Exactly. I'm so glad. Yeah, you guys. Cool. All right. Well, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So, and I'll try my skirt on right away. I just need a shirt to put with it. So, all right, guys.